her next chapter.
Do you have a lot of regrets?
A few. Not a lot.
A few.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what they are.
And giddy up, we're sitting down with Cole Hauser ahead of the eagerly anticipated season 5 premiere of Yellowstone. What he's saying about the hugely popular show and his fan favorite character.
But when I look down there, Beth, 10 years worries me.
As we let it rip today, Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022.
Hi to our mom, Sandy, watching in like Jackson, Texas. We love you.
Celebrating Dawn's retirement.
After more than 30 years of teaching. Cousins trip from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hello, St. Louis. From Chatham, Massachusetts.
Here for Valerie's birthday.
It's Ashley's first time in New York. From Berwick, Pennsylvania.
It's our 47th wedding anniversary.
From Cinnaminson, New Jersey, skipping school because today
It's Ethan's 13th birthday.
So a little boy in South Korea, you know what he did?
What?
He picked a fluffy dandelion in the park, and he was so excited, he ran to show his mom. What he didn't realize was while he was running, the breeze was blowing all the puffiness off of it.
Tita, Tita.
He looked confused, a little disappointed, but you know, he's only 2. Anyway, plenty more dandelions. He probably planted about 20 dandelions too, so.
I like that. I think I was just throws it down. He's like,
He was
yeah.
like, no.
Stupid flower.
That's the universal language right there. Like, what just happened there? Coming up, guys, she is one of music's biggest stars, but have fans been saying Adele's name wrong all this time? What Adele is now saying about that, I don't know. I don't know.
Not sure if that's right either. But we do know his name, Harry Smith, and Harry's here. And Harry's got a can't-miss conversation with a beloved football icon, Terry Bradshaw.
Imagine getting 2 cancer diagnoses in 1 year. Terry Bradshaw has a lot to say about it. Stay tuned.
All right, Harry, can't wait for that. Excited for that interview. One of your favorites, you said. We'll look forward to it right after this. You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
Love you too.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
You get one beautiful life to live. What are you going to do?
This show is so fun, but having you as a positive force means really the world to me.
Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold, okay?
We have this circle of women that love each other.
I decided I'm going to go with the rhythm of life.
And you love riding the wave.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCNews.com/planyourvote today.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
And welcome back. Terry Bradshaw is an icon of the NFL. For one generation, a legend on the field. For another generation, a legend in the broadcasting.
And just a few weeks ago, he revealed live on air that within the last year, he was diagnosed with 2 forms of cancer.
Well, Harry Smith traveled to his Oklahoma ranch to talk with him, his wife Tammy, about his health and his healing process. And Harry, you said this is one of your favorite conversations you've had.
Walk in the door, and here's a guy in a very serious situation, right? And he's got energy to burn. And how you doing, Harry? And that's how we start.
It starts with this. Terry Bradshaw, breathless, during a routine segment on Fox Sports' NFL football show.
You know, one thing, you talked about reading coverages.
Are you tired of that?
You talk about, I only got one lung. Talk about, clear!
Well, look,
I gotta get some air.
And then you get done, and you're on Howie like this.
I couldn't breathe, you're right. That's when everybody noticed what's wrong with him. You know, social media went, get rid of him, he needs to be off the air, he's an embarrassment. And I'm like, embarrassment? What? He got cancer, he didn't know that.
But the audience had no idea. The following week, Bradshaw came clean.
And a lot of people are asking, what's wrong with me?
The four-time Super Bowl winner and NFL Hall of Famer diagnosed with 2 different cancers in less than a year.
Folks, I may not look like my old self, but I feel like my old self.
The first, bladder cancer.
I wasn't scared.
Really?
No. You know what, Harry? I don't know why. I never was scared.
I mean, you're Terry Bradshaw. You're bigger than life.
Well, cancer didn't think so. I don't think cancer cares. Listen, cancer shows no favoritism. I honestly, Harry, said, okay, so what do we do? As a man of faith, as a Christian, my attitude was, well, if I go, I'm okay. If I stay, I'm okay.
Cancer number 1 detected early. Treatment successful.
So you get the clean bill of health.
Right.
You're cruising along in your life.
Right.
And it comes knocking on your door again.
Again. I had nerve pain in my neck and my shoulder.
Right.
Which is, I have injured my neck before, so this is not uncommon.
You did play quarterback
I
in the
did.
National Football League.
An MRI was ordered.
You got a tumor. On this side, they checked here, but they saw it over here, the tumor. And I went, what? Now this bothered me.
Diagnosis, a rare skin cancer, Merkel cell, much more serious.
I'm just looking at your face. That one got your attention.
It did. It did.
Do you think in its own way that incident where you're leaning on Howie was almost like a blessing in disguise? Because it made you talk about it.
Yeah, it did. How do you talk about it? How do you talk about your problems when everybody else has got the same problems?
Or worse.
So I didn't talk about it because I didn't want pity. I think the perception around America with all the millions of people is, oh, look at him. Bless his heart. He has cancer. Well, my husband died of cancer, or my kids, or I didn't want that. It took me a long time before I told my family.
But Bradshaw did not battle cancer alone. His wife, Tammy, is his rock.
The doctor calls me to tell me what it is. And then I'm shook because I was a radiation therapist for 10 years. So I knew where this could go. I knew what the outcomes could be. And it did scare me the second time with that diagnosis. Yeah. And I never said this to him, but inside I carried a lot more worry and stress than what I let him know, I think.
In real life, though, were there tears?
Not in front of him, no.
I can't put into words how thankful I am for her. Seriously. I can't imagine not holding her hand when we take off on a plane, or when we snuggle up when we're in bed together, or when she's sitting over there with our sick puppy. And I look at her and she doesn't know I'm looking at her, and I'm so thankful. Now I'm getting emotional.
The Bradshaws are in the midst of downsizing in a big way. They run one of the most impressive quarter horse operations anywhere and recently sold more than 100 head.
We're going to go to Europe, going to go to Paris, going to go to wherever we want to go. I'm going to get all this in because I feel like I don't want to put this off anymore. I may have 25, 30 years left, but I'm going to act like I got one.
Really amazing time with that guy.
What's the next step?
Well, you know, for now, he's going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. That would have been this fall. Remember this? He throws the ball. He's throwing the ball. He's running around all over the place. What happens? It bounces off of one guy. Who picks it up? I'm sounding like Terry Bradshaw. Franco Harris goes in for the touchdown and the win.
Wow.
The Immaculate Reception 50 years ago.
Where does he get his positivity from? His
I think a lot of it is his faith, to be perfectly honest. But his whole thing is, I don't want pity. The other thing they talked about was because his wife has the experience in the medical
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
She says, you need to go to Yale to get this. Go to MD Anderson to get this. They're thankful that they have the access to this very high level of care. Because not everybody's got it.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was a good conversation.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Do it with you.
Thank you.
You get one beautiful life to live. What are you going to do?
This show is so fun, but having you as a positive force means really the world to me.
Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold, okay?
We have this circle of women that love each other.
I decided I'm going to go with the rhythm of life.
And you love riding the wave.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric. Yeah, I love you too.
Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric. Yeah, I love you too.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight and expert analysis. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now. Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric. Yeah, I love you too.
Oh my gosh, we are back. I know. Maria is totally sweating that Rip is in the building.
Do you love him?
I do love him.
Okay, well, we're going to have an interview with
He's
Cole
married
Hauser
now, Maria.
from Yellowstone. A little bit. Cool it down. Okay, now we have a revealing interview with music legend Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah, also known as the First Lady of Rock, her powerful voice and dozens of hits have entertained fans for 5 decades.
Well, now Linda Ronstadt has a new memoir out, and our friend Maria Shriver shared what looks like a very personal conversation and a meal with her, too.
That's right. She's incredible. But it's fair to say that she is a music icon. She sold more than 100 million albums and won 11 Grammys. But for more than a decade, she has also battled a neurological disease that has restricted her ability to sing. I recently sat down with Ronstadt at her home in San Francisco to talk about her new book, where she goes deep into her family and her upbringing and how that has shaped herself as an artist and as a woman. And few singers are better than Linda Ronstadt. Known as the First Lady of Rock, she sold more than 100 million albums. Her powerful and sultry voice mesmerizing fans worldwide. In her 5 decades of making music, she's conquered nearly every style. From pop, country, and Broadway,
take heart, grace, thy steps retrace,
to foreign language.
Por un amor.
Her first Spanish-speaking album, one of the best-selling of its kind ever.
The hardest thing to write about.
Now at age 76, Ronstadt is celebrating her Mexican heritage in a new memoir called Feels Like Home, a song for the Sonoran borderlands. A reference to the region along Arizona's southern border where she grew up, her grandparents Mexican immigrants. Her home filled with the traditions, cuisine, and music of Mexico.
I loved singing with my family. We didn't have to talk politics that way. So we wouldn't talk, we'd sing.
In her new book, Linda also includes recipes of her favorite Mexican foods from childhood. I got a taste at her home.
This is a cowboy lunch.
This is a cowboy lunch. But today, even holding a spoon can be a challenge. Linda has a neurological condition called progressive supranuclear palsy, similar to Parkinson's disease. It impacts her movements, cognition, and her ability to sing. You said you miss singing every day?
I can sing in my brain.
You sing in your brain?
It's not quite the same.
What is that like when you sing in your brain? What do you just hear the melody?
Sometimes I choose the song, and sometimes my brain chooses the song. My brain chooses the worst music, blares away in my head, like really bad Christmas carols.
Linda has always carved her own path in her career and in her personal life. Despite romances with former California Governor Jerry Brown and filmmaker George Lucas, she never got married, instead adopting 2 children on her own. You didn't ever think of yourself as the marrying kind. Why not?
Not cut out for marriage.
Why?
I think there's such a thing as adult onset narcissism. I think a lot of us were guilty of that.
Through her book, Linda wants to give back and honor the Mexican culture that shaped her as an artist. She remembers a record executive in the 90s trying to dissuade her from recording a Spanish-speaking album.
Oh, yeah, he said, please don't do this. It'll destroy your career, what's left of your career. And I just couldn't hear him.
And what did that make you feel like? Did that give you a sense of shame?
It made me feel like we're being marginalized and that Mexicans are invisible in this culture. They're invisible. They're expected to be in the kitchen washing dishes or cooking for you or cleaning your house. But they don't seem to have another context.
As we wrapped our time together, Linda talked about getting older and the wisdom it provides. You said you don't get to your age without regrets.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of regrets?
A few. Not a lot.
A few?
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what they are.
Linda says that when she was a teenager, her mom said, you don't have to get married, that you have lots of other options, which I thought was really progressive of the mother at that time. She said her mother also said, don't learn to type. Because if you learn to type, you'll be stuck typing for the rest of your life. So,
what did you come away with? That was so beautiful.
Well, she's so wise and she's so thoughtful. She said, I'm thinking about my regrets. I'm thinking about end-of-life issues. I'm thinking about, what does it all mean? And I want to continue to use my voice, and now I'm using it through this book and in other ways. But I thought about radical surrendering, having the gift that you've been given taken away from you, and not being able to do anything but accept that or surrender to that is such a spiritual act.
And with humor still, too. She still had that signature.
I think people forget how much of a powerhouse she was in music. She was the first female artist to ever have 4 consecutive albums go to a platinum status. Which
and how hard that was.
It's impossible.
Wow. Yeah, she's such an incredible voice. I've been listening to her music nonstop since the conversation, and it takes you back, and it's so beautiful.
She is. I mean, it's just there's no voice like it. She's just so distinct.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Great
so
conversation.
glad.
Shop All Day contributor McCohen Lovu is here, and she's going to talk about when we should be replacing, what we should know. Scan the QR code, and you can see all of her picks. Okay, I'm one of those people who has just stuff in there from forever. But let's start with mascara.
Yeah.
How long does it last?
It can be tempting to hold on to your mascara, especially if you love it, but you should really be switching out your mascara every 3 months. I know, and there's so many affordable options. By the way, this is a Shop Today favorite. I love this because you can wear it for everyday wear, even for like a glamorous occasion. But the brand says that it gives you those long and elongated lashes.
Like
so this is really, really good. Yeah.
Let's
move on to a mini. So because you're switching it out every 3 months, I like this one.
Oh, that's smart. Get a little one and toss
Get a little one, and then you can also take to go. But this is a nice brand. This gives you that like luxury product, but at an affordable price, so you can kind of test it out. I also love this one. You can use it on your actual lashes, or if you have falsies as well. Brilliant.
Awesome. Now, how long should you keep a concealer in the bag?
Okay, this may be a concealed fact. No, but you should actually toss out your concealer every single year. Now, this one has, every year. This one has 100,000 ratings, and people love it. The brand says that it'll give you up to 12 hours of moisturizing wear, which we love, right?
Yeah, we do.
But if you've got dark circles, if you've got puffiness, this will help to cover that up. So here's a tip that I do, and I love what Hoda is doing right now. I actually pick up 2 of these, and I'll tell you why. I use one to conceal, right, to hide those dark circles, especially if I don't get sleep.
Yeah.
But I also use a lighter color, which is a shade up from my complexion to highlight.
Oh, so you got two.
Yeah, you got
okay,
two.
let's talk sponges and brushes. Those things live forever, I understand.
So your sponges are great. I love this. We have this 5-pack here, which is really well priced. You should be tossing these every month. And these you can use wet or dry. Now,
brushes.
We have 14 brushes that you can get for less than $10. Oh. This is how frequently you should be washing your brushes. You should wash them every week, but you should wash them also after every use. But this allows you to use a bunch of different things. You can use a bunch of different products, powder, liquid, and this is a nice set. And you can split them up with friends as well.
By the way, this is brilliant, but how to wash them? This looks like a good way.
Okay, let's get into it.
Show
All right, so this
is that
great.
what this is for?
This brush cleaner is
Okay.
absolutely sensational.
Okay.
I've already put a little bit of product in here. That's my highlighter. So what I'm going to do is turn it on. This is a brush cleaner.
So you
And
stick the brush
stick
in
the
the
brush
thing.
in there. Okay, so we got a little soap in there.
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
a little water. You put it in there. This allows you to
Hit the
clean the
button.
brush, hit the button. There we go. And you see that dirt coming off
turning
your
pink,
brush. So
yeah.
you should be cleaning these once a week, again, after every usage. And then you take it out, you lay it to dry. And then if you want it to
Yeah,
dry,
looks
you turn
clean.
it on again. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, a
that's
little
okay.
sprinkle there.
No, I like it, but that's good. So you turn it on and it dries in the air.
It comes with the collars. It comes with everything.
By the way,
so you can
brilliant.
just adjust it. All right, let's move on to this. So Hoda, I just moved into a new home, and I'm really particular about my countertops. I like that this protects my countertops. If
So
you like
you-
that. This helps to corral all your makeup, so it helps to protect, right? So you can use it here, and then it has this raised lid, so nothing rolls off. And then when you're done using it, it
Wait,
cinches
are you
like
kidding?
a bag, and you can take it with you to go.
By the way, that's
How great is
brilliant
that?
and brilliant for travel,
And can
too.
I tell you, speaking of hygiene, that one you can throw in the washing machine.
Perfect.
Okay, let's talk about
lastly.
this. Now,
Yeah.
if you want to clean this, you clean this with a wet cloth. But can we talk about how beautiful it is? Have the
looks
upstanding
good.
design.
Love it.
You can put your cosmetics on here. It's absolutely great.
I love it.
Yeah.
By the way,
Talk to me.
You're amazing. As always, we love when you come to see us. To get more on these picks, scan the QR code or head to today.com/shop. And by the way, this segment solely features products available on Amazon, which has an affiliate relationship with Today. All right, guys, Savannah, over to you.
Okay, guys, we're here with everyone's favorite ranch hand, Cole Hauser, a.k.a. Rip Wheeler on Yellowstone. Did Maria Shriver come and stalk you?
Oh,
She did.
Yeah, okay.
That was very interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, she had a family member play you for Halloween.
Yeah.
I was Rip Wheeler for Halloween. We have all this to get to in our chat.
I
Yeah.
can't wait.
We're excited to have you here, and we're going to chat about the new season too. But first, this is Today on NBC.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight and expert analysis. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
You get one beautiful life to live. What are you going to do?
This show is so fun, but having you as a positive force means really the world to me.
Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold, okay?
We have this circle of women that love each other.
I decided I'm going to go with the rhythm of life.
And you love riding the wave.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
Love you too.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Well, it's not often that a show enters its 5th season and you feel like the series is just better than ever, but that is the case with Yellowstone.
Yeah, it follows the Dutton family on their Montana ranch, and the drama's getting a lot more intense as Kevin Costner's John Dutton does become governor of the state, something Rip Wheeler, played by our next guest, Cole Hauser, isn't sure is a good idea.
I'm always worried about today with an eye on tomorrow.
Oh, I thought we had a clip.
Yeah.
We
Well, I
don't.
looked
So
down
good
there,
morning
but-
to you, Cole. First of all, we have a lot of people come to this studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The buzz that is going through this place for you, Cole, and Yellowstone, and your character Rip Wheeler. I mean, are you getting used to this now, or is it still kind of overwhelming?
It's still a bit overwhelming. I mean, I'm stuck in Montana in the middle of nowhere for 6 months out of the year, and then they let me out of the cage and come to New York, and it's been pretty wild. I mean, Halloween, I saw a bunch of Rips running around. It was kind of
That was
funny.
crazy.
Yeah.
It feels like the show, when it first started, like a lot of people were into it. But then the word of mouth for, I guess, maybe the coast, California, New York, it really picked up steam. Like, I watched it during COVID, and when you're cramped up inside, the love letter to nature that the show is, do you think that had an impact on the viewership?
I think all of it, yeah. I mean, listen, we started as a very grassroots show, as you guys know. I mean, I think the first 2 seasons, and it slowly just kind of built out to the edges of the country. And, I mean, now to be walking down the streets of New York and think that there's fans here is pretty spectacular.
Well, you've been a working actor for a long time. You have family in the business, but it's one of those overnight successes that took years and years and years.
Yeah, 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, did you realize when you took this role, like, this is it? This is going to be my big break?
No, I mean, I just knew with Taylor Sheridan's writing and my style of acting and, the premise of the show and the cast around me, that there was a chance that Rip would be, a special character with a ton of different colors, and he's become that.
It seems like you went in the beginning, you were going to read for one of the Dutton Sons parts, one of the 3 parts.
That was initially,
That was true initially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Rip in the pilot has very few scenes. What did you see in Rip Wheeler that you wanted to do it?
I mean, there's a darkness to him that I love, but there's also this kind of, real passion and love that he has for Beth. And I thought that's a really good juxtaposition as an actor to be able to play that. And again, it's about colors. And I think Taylor, over time, has given me the ability to continue to play him and show the sensitive side of Rip. So there's levels to him, which I love.
It is funny that all the women think he's such a heartthrob, and he's slightly homicidal.
Yeah. That's what I love.
But he's a real sweetie.
Yeah.
Tell me about the prep that you guys do, like the boot camp before the season starts.
It's gotten easier and easier, I'll tell you. But the first year was pretty down and dirty. I mean, we spent 7 days, on rocks in the Utah mountains, and the Ream brothers kind of ran us around, and it was a good, kind of breaking the ice of getting to know Wes, Luke, Denham, Ian, Jeff White.
They had you all the other hands out there, like sleeping out under the stars and doing the cowboy thing.
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, it's what I love. I think, Denham and a few other guys were like, where's the bed?
Right. What a way to go to work.
Yeah.
How does Rip like being married? He sleeps now in John Dutton's house.
I know,
does he like waking up in the house, not in the bunk room?
I think it's uncomfortable.
For him.
Very uncomfortable. I mean, he would be better served in a barn, but obviously we're married, and there's a lot of wonderful stuff that Taylor's written for us this year, and I'm excited for the audience to see the kind of progression and the journey of these 2 characters.
We want you to be happy, but I don't know if Beth can ever be happy. Okay, that's his poker face.
Yeah.
Rip seems like he's not sure now that Kevin Costner's character, the patriarch of the family, is governor. You think like he can control the future of Montana, but Rip, for some reason, has some questions. What is Rip worried about as the Duttons control the cards here?
I think it's not so much worried as that there's a lot more pressure on him to, take responsibility as a foreman of the ranch.
Yeah.
And so John is giving him those reins, so to speak, to show that he's got the merit to do it.
It's a great show, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So thank
Pleasure
you.
to meet you guys.
We're back after your local news.
Answers come when you need them most. Ooh, let it go.
The Today Show's newest fan.
Little Al Roker.
What am I doing here? This is your moment.
When was the last time you made space to listen to somebody?
What I learned from a very young age is radical love, radical forgiveness.
We are meeting people one after the next who've made profound changes.
It showed a lot of personal strength for me. Why am I trying to make other people happy over myself?
So many life lessons that are going on in these conversations. We're watching a transformation.
Join Hoda Kotb for her podcast, Making Space. Listen now.
This morning on the third hour of Today, our countdown to Thanksgiving. Plan your feast without breaking the bank. When to gobble up groceries and ways to trim spending this year. Then, in She Made It, the sweet success story behind Sprinkles Cupcakes. How the founder created an empire from scratch. And the Oprah Show phone call that changed her life. Plus, we got big stars stopping by. Tony and Emmy winner Audra McDonald on wrapping up her hit series. And father-daughter co-stars George and Mayan Lopez on their new show. Today, Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022.
Live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza, this is the third hour of Today.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to this third
What
hour.
day is it?
Hump day. Mike.
Everybody's back.
Yeah, we're all back at the table this morning. This is nice. Great work in Orlando yesterday.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We got a big Wednesday hour lined up for you, and we are going to start with the pinch that families continue to feel from coast to coast. Today, the Federal Reserve expected to raise interest rates yet again, making it even more expensive to borrow money, impacting credit cards, loan rates, all of it, of course, another attempt to ease inflation that's driving up prices on everything. It would be, when it happens, again, as it's expected to happen today, it would be the 6th rate hike this year.
My goodness. And the record inflation is having a huge impact on people who are nearing retirement. In fact, popular destinations like Florida are getting more expensive, and it's forcing some people to change plans. How many people say, I'm going to retire and move to Florida? Or how many people are already in Florida, right? Well, NBC's investigative and consumer correspondent Vicki Witt is here to break down what's going on. Good morning to you.
Hey, Vic.
So like I was just saying, Florida has always been known, as a popular and affordable place for retirees to flock to, but sounds like that could change. Why the sudden spike in housing?
Housing prices are up significantly. According to Zillow, the median home price in the Sunshine State is up 28%.
Wow.
So that's good news if you own a home. Not so great if you are worried about being on a fixed income and having to make mortgage payments or going there and trying to buy something. We talked to a real estate economist at Florida Atlantic University. They're studying this, and they're like, average rents are even high. Like Miami, $2,900. It's really pricing people out of that popular South Florida area, and here's why. 700,000 people moved to Florida since 2020.
700,000?
Right, that's almost 1 million, right? And that really changes the landscape of who's there and who can buy homes because of remote working. So the fact that people can work anywhere, it's squeezing some of these real estate markets in the Sunshine State.
So for folks who are watching and listening, some things that perhaps they could do, some tips that you could give them to focus on as they try to preserve that nest egg.
So look, as the experts say, the best time to start was 20 years ago, but the next best time is today, right? So you start trying to squirrel away whatever you possibly can. Do you really need all of those television and entertainment subscriptions? No, you can probably cut back on some of those extra expenses. Sometimes you actually don't need a whole second car in your family. Taking a ride share can be a lot cheaper for those little trips that you need to take. So maybe you could bring down one car. That'll save you $10,000 a year. This is something, Craig, I know you're interested in, which is people converting their IRAs and their 401ks to a Roth IRA. And this can really save you down the line because you're putting in after-tax dollars into that Roth IRA. And so then when you take it out, you're not taxed on it.
Right.
So that, as long as it's been in there for 5 years and you're 59 and a half years old. So talk to your accountant, talk to a financial expert and say, does this make sense for me at this time? And then, of course, as you near retirement age, start going into lower risk investments.
A lot of folks have really come around on those Roth conversions over the last few years. They've become quite popular.
Yes.
And the other idea is when you're thinking about where to move, and what I find fascinating, Vic, when you talk about, especially around the Gulf Coast, you talk about one of the things you should be thinking about is climate, especially after we saw what happened after Hurricane Ian.
Absolutely. Climate is so important, and people just think, okay, I'm going to go south, it's going to be warmer, but you also have to factor in natural disasters, as you mentioned, Al. Will your home be insured? Can you get insurance easily? Because those are things that are factored into your cost of living. Of course, Florida, like Texas, is a no state income tax place, which is great, but do you have access to the doctors and healthcare that you're going to need? That's probably going to be the most expensive cost for us as we age. And then go spend some time there. You'd be surprised at how many people think a place is the place they want to be, but then they live there and like, this is actually
not so much.
For me. Yeah.
You know, a great place to retire?
Where?
South Carolina.
All right.
South Carolina.
God's country.
I'm just going to move into their house.
That's way to cut costs.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you so much. You know how you can retire
and, save a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
Lottery. You win the
Make a
jackpot.
lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, you win the Powerball jackpot because it's a staggering $1.2 billion now. It's officially the second largest jackpot in Powerball history. If you choose the lump sum payment, that's just under $600 million. Don't forget the drawing is tonight. We've inserted our funds into, the big Powerball drawing.
It's already been done, Craig.
No.
Already done.
Nope.
It's already done.
Nope.
What are you paying today?
So here's what I did.
Oh, look at this.
There has been such widespread mockery on this show.
Yeah,
for years.
Deservedly so.
About me not having little T-Rex arms and not digging into my pocket. I went to one of those automated teller machines.
Look at that.
And I walked over and I got us all tickets.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Wait, that's a lot of tickets.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
thank you
this is
very much.
Visual proof that I'm not a total cheapskate.
Thank you, Daddy Warbucks.
Thank you.
Lay them all out and take a picture of them.
Yes.
So we can watch tonight when the drawing happens.
This is so
So we got 10 tickets.
All right.
Alan,
Very nice.
shocked.
I'm stunned.
Oh, he's stunned.
I'm stunned.
Yes.
And props, which is even better.
Yes.
Props for props.
That's true.
All right. So from Powerball to a powerhouse, the U.S. women's gymnastics team winning their record-breaking sixth consecutive world championship yesterday. Jordan Childs helping lead the Team USA to victory, securing their spot at the 2024 Paris Olympics. She's one of the vets. Hard to believe you're saying that. But there are also newcomers like the top all-around performer, Shilese Jones.
Hey, I'm rooting for her.
Not to be confused with our S. Jones.
Exactly.
Which is pretty cool. Shilese. And the control room was so worried about it. Allie, our senior producer, said it as I was saying it in my ear.
In your ear?
In my ear.
Well, I can spelled not like hell. You
Yes.
think to
That's
say.
right.
You could say Shalice. She's probably heard all sorts of things.
Yes,
because you have.
Oh my goodness.
That's right.
Why do I have an I in Chanel? I know.
That's right.
By the way, the World Gymnastics Championships are streaming on Peacock all week long and airing on NBC Sunday at noon.
All right.
Cheers to those ladies.
How about this name?
Speaking of names, one of the biggest music stars on the planet just revealed. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah.
We've been saying her name all wrong. Take a listen.
Allegedly.
Hi Adele, I'm Annie and I'm from London.
She said my name perfectly.
Yeah.
He came and asked me how I say my name, and I was like, Adele.
How was
and she was
mine?
like, hi, Adele.
They do it. Adele?
Adele.
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 Adele. Is that like an accent thing?
I think it's Adele.
Adele.
It is.
Adele. We have to sound like we're from South Carolina.
It's Adele.
Wow.
Adele.
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 That is. Well,
Adele.
Wichita, we would say Adele.
I mean, I think it's to her point, though. It sounds like we, I guess, have been all saying it wrong.
But why did she wait this long?
That's my
the
question.
fan, the fan just happened to say it right. So she said, "Oh, by the way,
that's
you said,
right.
It's like Rihanna. Remember, everybody kept saying it's Rihanna, and it's like
I just call her Riri. But I tell my
Do
son.
you?
I do.
Yeah, when I call
He loves
her,
his nickname.
It is Rihanna.
I tell my
Named all the days of the week.
I tell my son all the time when he's in class.
Yeah.
When someone mispronounces your name, correct them politely.
Really?
Yeah, because his name's Delano, and you can butcher. It's
That's
been butchered
true,
a lot.
Delano.
No, it's actually Dale.
Delano. How about another revelation?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to another big one because tomorrow Starbucks celebrates the 25th anniversary and the return of their holiday red
it's a
cups.
time?
I saw them for the first time. We have an exclusive first look at this year's design. We're also getting a taste of their winter drink menu.
Oh, thank you, Gerard.
Okay. So do you
It's
not like
Gerard.
Gerard.
We've been mispronouncing
Now, what are your thoughts on the winter flavors? I know you don't like the fall flavors.
There's, I guess one of them's almond. Now, do we know which is which?
They're gonna.
Yes.
This
Well,
is
first
peppermint mocha.
Peppermint. Okay, peppermint mocha.
Okay. It's the 20th anniversary of this being on their menu.
Cheers.
If you haven't
Cheers to
tried
the
it by now.
cheers to the holidays.
Cheers to you at home too.
Cheers.
And this is like an easy splurge, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, and then we also have.
That's
Tastes
pretty
like
sweet.
a York peppermint pie.
You like
Yeah,
it?
It's kind of
which
sweet.
is not so bad.
And then we also have a
Ultimately.
caramel or caramel, however you would like to say
Caramel
it.
brulee
Creme
latte.
brulee latte.
Brulee.
This is the
Like
latte.
this one?
All right.
Don't you guys love watching us taste
Oh,
it?
that's a little sweet.
But I feel like we would tell you all
That
the
is
truth.
sweet.
That's
Yeah.
sweet. That's sweeter than the last. But I feel like people who go to Starbucks and order these,
Especially in the
drinks,
holidays.
they want sweet.
You want a
They
little
want
fruit
sweet.
This one I like. I like
Okay.
it better
So
than
this is
peppermint,
good news.
But I don't like
For the non-dairy
Yes.
folks, iced sugar cookie almond milk latte. That's a lot
Oh,
going
it's
on
got
there.
sprinkles on the
Y'all
top.
doing too much.
No, that makes it yummy. You know, a lot of people like all the things.
What is this one again? Al?
Cream
Good
and-
too.
It's got almond milk.
What is it?
What do you think?
Oh,
An almond
I don't know.
There's, you know what?
Almond milk cookie something.
I still try to go to Starbucks and order I'm like, what's your medium? I don't. I just want like.
Just give me a black coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, there you go.
you
Happy
have it.
holidays. Thank you, Starbucks.
Enjoy.
Happy holidays from
Cheers.
Starbucks.
Yes.
It'll be a hit for sure.
Before the holidays, though, Thanksgiving, and coming up, we're talking turkey. Stephanie Ruhle is here to tell us how to save on our feast this year and when we actually need to start shopping. So we'll spend some time with Steph, and then a little bit later, how about some dessert?
Why
Let's
not?
have some coffee. Let's have some dessert. The story behind Sprinkles Cupcakes and how the founder of Sprinkles Cupcakes went from banking to baking.
Ooh.
Third hour today, right back after
Red
this.
velvet.
Either way, she made dough.
You get one beautiful life to live. What are you going to do?
This show is so fun, but having you as a positive force means really the world to me.
Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold, okay?
We have this circle of women that love each other.
I decided I'm going to go with the rhythm of life.
And you love riding the wave.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
I love you too.
Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
We are counting down to Thanksgiving, folks, and this morning in our On the Money series, we're going to look for some ways to save this year. Price of everything is going up. We're going to help you save a few bucks, whether you're hosting a holiday dinner or perhaps you're a guest as well. And here to help us get the most bang for our buck, Stephanie Ruhle, of course, NBC News senior business analyst. Always good to have you.
Great to be here celebrating the holidays.
It's hard to believe that Thanksgiving's right around the corner, but apparently it is. Best time to start planning out the shopping.
Okay. In anything we're talking about, you know I'm going to say, when do you start planning?
No,
Now,
I know.
immediately, yesterday. I always love planning. I always love budgeting. No time like the present. And don't just think, oh, I don't have to think about it. I'm not hosting Thanksgiving. Well, guess what? You're still going to have to pay. Are you traveling?
That's true.
Do you need to bring something? Do you have to dress up? Because if you do and your kids wear sweatpants to school every day, well, come the day before Thanksgiving, you're going to realize your son only has clam diggers. So I want you to start planning now so you're not shopping the day before and make that budget. If you do this now, you are going to save yourself financial stress and emotional stress. Let's get ahead of the game.
Plan now, make a budget.
Plan now.
All right, Thanksgiving is huge in our house. My husband's like, did you order the turkey yet? Did you get the cranberry sauce? You got everything? I'm like, okay, I still have some time. But do I?
You do, but it makes financial sense to start planning early. Think about your turkey. We know there was an avian flu issue months ago. Turkey prices, like everything else, are up. If you have the freezer space and you're planning on getting a frozen turkey, let's get it now, right? It's cheaper now. Also, shop the sales. All of your non-perishables, think about your weekly circulars at the grocery store. You can pick them up. Even some fresh items like cranberries, you can freeze them and then obviously defrost them come Thanksgiving. You can save now. And always, go for the coupons. Go for the circulars. Think about rewards points. I mean, every stinking Thanksgiving, my mother can't wait to brag that she spent $150 at ShopRite, which meant she got a free turkey every single year. Don't forget that. It's important.
It also takes the stress out of the week of Thanksgiving.
100%. If you rush the week of, there's going to be nothing left, and it's going to be super expensive.
And it's crazy busy in the stores as well.
Crazy.
So how do you make sure you're set up for these other essentials?
Okay, there's lots of other things, right? Paper goods cost more this year, so you want to get to the dollar store now.
Okay.
And now let's think about cutlery, your china, your tablescape. Try some thrift stores. Go secondhand. It's kind of a creative and a lot less expensive
Maybe ask
way.
some friends to bring.
Absolutely. I am not going to suggest go crafty because this is, instead of your fabric napkins, go to a fabric store and make some napkins.
No.
I'm going to be honest.
No. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that.
But here's what we are
doing
going to do. Go to your Buy Nothing apps, your pages, your Facebook Marketplace. You have neighbors that could be getting rid of stuff. Al, I've borrowed tables from you, my neighbor, on holidays. Think what your neighbors might have.
And she brings them back better.
I bring them back. How's that? If you've got a neighbor with something, now's the time to borrow. As far as making your napkins, I am not.
Or you have a friend who makes them.
Correct. Or if you have a friend who
Here's a
makes
question.
them.
You get invited to a holiday gathering and you have to take up the hostess a gift, host or hostess. I feel like I'm always taking wine. It's like, we need something else.
Well, guess what?
No, wine is always good.
Is that okay?
But this is where you can splurge a little, where the host might not, right? Get them that expensive candle to make the house smell really nice.
Yeah.
Or maybe expensive coffee beans. Because if I'm the host, I'm not necessarily
gonna buy for
splurging on
myself.
coffee,
Right.
so you
True.
can. Here's my favorite.
What is this?
Do the dishes, sister.
Bingo.
If it's someone you're really
That
good
is
friends
true.
with, say,
That's it.
I'm going to come back tomorrow
That's nice.
and really do that.
Help you
I
clean up.
love
That's
that.
really nice. You know people who linger after and actually help you
That's
clean
right.
up?
No one.
Those are
friends
That
that
don't have
are
any of those.
real deal.
Exactly.
Now, how about what if you're
Lingering
buying
drink.
something big?
That's all
Maybe
they do.
you and all your siblings want to chip in and
This
actually.
is my bar. Everybody's all up on my. This is
Okay, but
Okay, we're just here. They took a wide shot. That doesn't
know.
mean we came in closer. We were here all the time. Will you please go in close on Chanel?
Have
So
your
that,
shot.
please,
Have your shot.
thank you.
What were you saying? No, Stephanie.
Jeez.
What were you saying, Stephanie?
Okay, let's say you
Back
want to
up.
buy something big. You and all your siblings are going to your parents for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You're going, they got a damn small TV, and I want to watch the big game.
Yeah.
Let's say you're going to chip in and buy your parents a TV.
Okay.
Don't forget, Black Friday sales at a lot of the big box stores are starting early. Let's get in there now. Uh-oh. Right over there. He's a creeper.
Back up off.
The Thanksgiving creeper.
Oh, that's everyday creeper,
Come on
not
in.
just
Greg
Thanksgiving.
keeps standing in the front of everyone.
Stephanie,
So
thank
close.
you.
Thank you.
So much, Stephanie. I'm so sorry. I apologize for my friends. And for financial advice,
back up?
whenever
Why are
you'd
you
like,
standing
because I'm
Getting closer on Craig.
You can
Closer.
go to today.com/on the money.
Dylan, this is your part, Dylan.
Coming up next, I can't see the screen. Coming up next, a real treat. Jill Martin met the queen of cupcakes and found out the story behind the sprinkles phenomenon in our She Made It. Then later, actor Audra McDonald live in studio.
Look
We're
how you guys
sorry,
have been
Audra.
behaving for Audra.
She's going to talk Broadway and saying goodbye to her hit show, The Good Fight. We'll be right
Sorry,
back.
Audra. She didn't sign up for this.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
You too.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
You get one beautiful life to live. What are you going to do?
This show is so fun, but having you as a positive force means really the world to me.
Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold, okay?
We have this circle of women that love each other.
I decided I'm going to go with the rhythm of life.
And you love riding the wave.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
We are back with a very sweet She Made It. Today, lifestyle and commerce contributor Jill Martin Brooks met the woman who baked up the booming cupcake business, Sprinkles. This is a fun one.
Everybody is in the back eating right now because this is a very popular one. Okay, so Candace Nelson is an entrepreneur and best-selling author who believes anyone can make it. They just need the right recipe.
In the media, we see these entrepreneurs that are glamorized for building, rocket ships into space. But I grew a really big business out of a simple cupcake.
For Sprinkles Cupcakes founder Candace Nelson, her passion for baking started early. Was Easy Bake Oven in your life at that point?
Of course I had an Easy Bake Oven. Who didn't? I grew up baking alongside my mom in the kitchen. Rice Krispie treats, cupcakes, you name it.
She started her career in investment banking.
The dot-com bust happened, and instead of going to business school, I decided to go to pastry school. Everyone thought I was nuts. They thought I was having my quarter-life crisis.
But the proof was in her baking. After pastry school, Candace began selling her own confections.
I realized that special occasion cakes, people don't buy very often. I wanted to make something that people could enjoy every day. And I thought, here's this uniquely American treat. Everyone loves it. It's nostalgic, and it's just been relegated to plastic clamshells.
She set out to create an artisanal alternative, of the familiar childhood treat.
It was 2004, and people were used to spending 75 cents at the grocery store for their cupcakes.
Right.
Here I was charging $3, and it raised a lot of eyebrows.
So what did you do to sort of say, okay, this is why this is worth it?
I stood behind that cupcake counter and explained the value of my product until I was blue in the face.
Still, some weren't convinced.
People told me that this idea would never work. It was the height of the low-carb craze. We were opening a first-of-its-kind cupcakes-only bakery in the middle of Beverly Hills.
Soon after, word about Candace's cupcakes started to spread.
And then we opened to lines out the door.
But it was one phone call that changed everything for Sprinkles Cupcakes.
It was a producer from the Oprah Winfrey Show telling me that Oprah loved my cupcakes. And they said, you can have 350 of them in Chicago tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So I fired up the ovens, baked up those 350 cupcakes, piled them high in shopping bags, and took a red eye to Chicago. We were the most annoying people going through the airport because we had to take each box out of the shopping bag and run it through the security.
Like, sorry everyone, Oprah's calling.
The Oprah Show thrust Sprinkles into the spotlight, and overnight, Candace's 600-square-foot bakery in Beverly Hills became a hit.
The lines were wrapped around the block. It was unbelievable.
So did that lead to you taking private equity money? When did you decide to make that flip from self-investing?
At a certain point, I didn't want to hold the business's growth back. I didn't know that I was necessarily the one to take it from 10 locations to 30 or 40.
That decision paid off. To date, Sprinkles has sold over 200 million cupcakes and has over 40 locations nationwide. And in 2017, Candace fired up a new business, Pizzana.
Love elevating simple pleasures, sort of surprising and delighting people with foods they thought they knew. And pizza is one of those.
Now Candace is sharing her secrets in a new book.
You have a book behind you. You're already a best-selling cookbook author.
My new book, Sweet Success, is all about how I came up with the idea for Sprinkles, scaled it, built it, protected it in this sea of competition.
So when I say she made it, you're like, woohoo!
Absolutely, and as women, we need to get better about looking at challenges we've overcome, looking at the triumphs, because those are the building blocks to confidence.
You know, most entrepreneurs that you ask, have you made it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They say, no, I'm still striving. I loved that she said, you know what, I do take a moment to say, look what I've done.
Yeah.
And
just
so,
kinda live
and just like live in the moment. And we all need to pat ourselves on the back when we do something triumphant. So anyway, I would like to invite you to eat.
Okay.
Nothing like
We got the Cupcake
9:27.
Pizza Bar.
So
I know, which
so
do
she
you
had
got?
Sprinkles. Now she has the Pizzana, which you talked about. This is cacio pepe on pizza and margarita. And so she's really proud of everything, and her new book too teaches how you too
That's
can
good.
be an entrepreneur.
Wow.
How we doing?
I'm gonna have this first, and I'll finish it off with a cupcake.
Like dessert. Jill, thanks so much.
Very good,
Hey,
Jill.
coming up next, we've got some serious star power in Studio 1A who we can offer pizza to. Tony, Emmy, Grammy winner, Audra McDonald here live, telling us all about saying goodbye to one of her classic characters. And father-daughter duo, George and Mayan Lopez, out with a brand new show, and it's a stretch. They're playing dad and daughter. Wow! Who knew? Third hour of today. I'll be right back.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCNews.com/planyourvote today.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. And let's just get to the point. They have started to vote on the PACT Act. If you're like Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. So Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Danny. You are.
I was trying to do it on the slide.
Live TV, man. It's okay.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
This is why we love our job. This morning we're catching up with a star of stage and screen.
Audra McDonald is an Emmy, Grammy, and oh, by the way, 6-time Tony Award winner.
She played Dr. Naomi Bennett in the hit series Private Practice and currently stars in The Good Fight, which wraps up its final season tomorrow night.
Audra plays attorney Liz Reddick. Here's a peek at the series finale.
You're a good partner.
As are you.
Okay. Reddick and Richard.
Reddick and Richard.
The biggest black firm in the world.
Oh my goodness, Audra, good morning.
Good morning.
Was that just so much fun?
Oh, yeah, we had a great time this last season. We were sad because it was our last season, but we had Andre Brower join us, Christine Baranski.
Is it bittersweet or is it hard to let go?
It's hard to let go. I think what I'm taking away from it is to continue the good fight in life and to continue to, fight for the things that you believe in, speak up. Move the world forward, and that's what this black law firm was doing. Yeah.
And you're about to start a new play on Broadway, christening the James Earl Jones Theater.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, it's called Ohio State Murders, written by black female playwright Adrienne Kennedy, who is 91 years old. She's having her Broadway debut at 91, even though she's been writing incredible plays and has been on the scene since the 60s. So this is a very big deal.
In fact, talk about this moment right now. Your play is opening up. You've got the piano lesson.
Yes.
You have
Top
Dog Underdog. Death of a Salesman with Wendell Pierce.
Yes.
What is this moment like right now?
I think it's wonderful. We're telling all different types of stories, and more stories representing more people are coming to Broadway. And I think that's very important, especially for black people, on Broadway right now. We just christened the Lena Horne Theater yesterday. So we now have 3 Broadway theaters named for black icons in the business, and so I just think it's a wonderful time, and it is time.
Let's stick with the Broadway theme for a moment here, because I want to show folks at home there was this image of the 74th annual Tony Awards. And of course, we all know the impact that the pandemic had on Broadway specifically, but there you were standing on stage, and there's a song from one of your first Tony Award, Tony-winning roles, and then you see people crying through their masks, like Darren Criss and Jesse Tyler.
Brian Stokes Mitchell there.
And so you're standing on stage and you see this, even though folks are just all masked up. What was that moment like for you?
That was a very emotional night because, Broadway had been closed up for so long, and we were finally opening up again, and we couldn't have the Tony Awards during the pandemic. So that first time that we were able to get them in, we got them in the fall. And so it felt like everybody was coming home, and we were back. And so it was like a reunion. It was like a family reunion. So it was very emotional. And to sing with Stokes is always just a dream come true.
And another big night for you, I assume, was your performance, your one-night-only performance at the London Palladium Theater in the West End. You're singing the American Songbook and Broadway hits. I mean, what is it like preparing for that?
I was very nervous about singing at the Palladium because it's a historic building. Judy Garland has sung there. All these people have sung there and played there. Duke Ellington. And I was just nervous that I wasn't going to be able to connect with the audience, And so I walked out on that stage, and the audience was just so open and so warm. And within seconds, I was like, I don't have to be nervous.
Yes, I got this.
They loved me.
And we did. No, I don't know if they loved me.
They loved you.
My shoes off.
And there's going to be a special on this.
Yes, we were able to record it, to film it, and it will be distributed later.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And beyond all of these things, you have this beautiful family, beautiful daughter.
Yeah.
She's just turned 6.
Yes, I have 4 kids total, 2 steps, and my oldest daughter is 21, youngest is 6. Just had Halloween. Yes.
What did she go as?
Well, she started out as a character from Gravity Falls, this cartoon from years ago, but then switched, costume change halfway, and then was a princess.
Of course. Always.
Yeah, you gotta be a princess at some point.
Audra, it is congratulations. Such a delight to have you.
On all the things.
Absolutely. All the things.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Audra. Well, coming up next, we've got one talented family coming up. Father and daughter, George and Mayan Lopez, here live talking about their brand new show. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. And let's just get to the point. They have started to vote on the PACT Act. If you're like, Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. So, Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Dan. You are
I was
you got
trying to
it.
do it on the slide.
Live TV, man, it's okay.
Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCNews.com/plan your vote today.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
I love you too.
Welcome back. George Lopez has been making audiences laugh for more than 40 years with his comedy specials, late night show, books. So embrace it. And of course, his namesake TV show, which debuted back in 2002, one of the first mainstream sitcoms featuring Latinx characters.
And talent runs in the family because George is now working with his daughter, actor, producer, and content creator, Mayan.
Yeah, the new NBC sitcom Lopez versus Lopez, it centers on the relationship between a once estranged father and his daughter.
I don't know about you staying here, Dad. I mean, it's only been like 6 weeks since we started hanging out again.
But it's been going good, right?
Yeah. I mean, you come here, you do stuff for me, we laugh, and you go home. I love that last part.
George and Mayan, welcome.
Good morning.
Good to see you. But so look, before we get to the sitcom, we just started talking, and we just came off of Halloween. George, you say you live in a haunted house?
Yeah, my house is haunted. There's sounds and there's voices and there's things. But, you know, I'm a Latino, so Day of the Dead today. I actually spend more time with the people who aren't around than people that are around.
Okay, fine.
So it's really haunted?
Yeah.
You need someone to hang out with.
And hence that brings us to the show. Lopez. You set them up, we'll knock them down. So here's the deal. Is it true that this show was based on one of your TikToks?
It is. Almost 2 years ago to the day, someone made a TikTok about some like family trials and tribulations. Oh, there it is. And so I made one. I was like, well, we'll get people's attention. It's not really out of my character, but let me just twerk upside down on a wall. And, you know, I'm a comedian. I'll go for the joke. And our show creator, Debbie Wolf, saw that. And, you know, as we do, procrastinating, watching TikTok and saying this is a show. And we never thought to work
I
with
think
each
the
other.
minute you see your daughter upside down twerking, you know the issue is very serious. It needs to be dealt with immediately.
Yes.
So you had to, this is your intervention that you take.
Exactly.
Do a show. You grew up on the set of
I did.
that original groundbreaking
Yeah, I was about
show.
5 years old when the show started.
And what's it like now working with Dad on a daily basis?
I mean, it's the most time I've spent with him, about 10 years. So it's, but really, it is such an incredible experience to be able to collaborate with one another. And, you know, if there's a joke that I don't land, we're able to, you know, connect and bounce off one another and to create and to have that with someone that I love and have respected and learned from is an experience of a lifetime. I
And
feel
George,
so
you said that you always feel like you're an eye roll away from being a stranger again.
I'm one eye roll away from us not talking, but also through the hours and years of therapy, the most uncomfortable part of it is sharing an elevator on the way down and then walking to the car. So, you know, mine is the one relationship in my life that I need to save and the one I value more than anything. And that's why this show, listen, if NBC will allow us to deal with our personal issues on TV, then God bless. I'm in the old Sanford and Son time spot. I could not be happy.
And you know, that's what's great about it. It's the old, not to say it's old fashioned, but it's that traditional 4-camera, you know, in front of a studio audience.
Yes.
I think we need that now.
You know, it's familiar, you know, with the pandemic and all the things that we got away from the things that were familiar familiar. And a sitcom like that, and all the great sitcoms, and a lot of them were here, that are familiar, that's what this show is. You know, it should be very familiar, it should be very family for people, too.
So you said you were 5 growing up on the set of the George Lopez show, which is 20 years old. I mean, it's, but were there glimmers of, you know, if we ever did this in the future, do you have callbacks to like what, anything?
Yeah, I had
from back
little
then, or?
cameos in the background, and I think just I absorbed everything just as a sponge, and I became like familiar. I'm a producer on the show as well, so I became familiar behind the camera, in front of the camera, and it's surreal. Like we even had the cast of the original show come back for an episode.
Oh, that's cool.
And so even just being able to share that with them, and like it's family.
And I wanted to look so different. I wanted to look like, for my character, there's no place to go but up.
Really quickly, what did you learn from this? There are a lot of people who will watch this show, and they have, as we say, daddy issues. A lot of us didn't grow up with our fathers, or have you, may have had strange times, or we didn't talk, and people are trying to come back together again. And that's what you guys are doing on stage in front of all of us.
You know, being stubborn and time, you can't get time back. And being stubborn, you know, only hurts the relationship more. So, you know, people need to take that first step forward. There's a lot of people who are estranged from their families.
Yeah, you don't have
take
to be
that first
perfect
step.
to have healing.
Wow. George
right,
and
thank
Mayan, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
So good.
We love you guys.
Oh, we love you. And Lopez versus Lopez, premiering Friday on NBC. Watch it streaming next day on Peacock. Coming up next, we've got best-selling author Mateo Ascarapora is live with some fall book picks, including one that will soon be coming to the big screen. We'll be right back.
All right.
I thought for
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Yeah.
I love you too.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. And let's just get to the point. They have started to vote on the PACT Act. If you're like, Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. So, Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Danny. You are,
I was
you got
trying
it.
to do it on the slide.
Live TV, man, it's okay.
Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
There is nothing quite like curling up with a good book in the fall. And folks, we have an expert to share some of the season's best reads. This is Mateo Ascarapora. Mateo is the author of the New York Times bestseller Black Buck, which was actually featured in Jenna's book club last year. It's a phenomenal book, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Mateo, thank you for coming in and doing this. This is wonderful. Before we get into all these books, your first book was actually picked up by a show, by Hulu? It's picked up as a show for Hulu?
It was going to be, yeah. Now we're gonna hit the show again next year and see what happens in Hollywood, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, and this first book got picked up by Hulu.
This first book, yes, Interior Chinatown. So it came out in 2020, and it's going to be turned. Oh, thank you. Hello.
That's your mic. There you go.
That's my mic. Yeah, it is. It's going to be turned into a TV show by Hulu. It was given the green light a couple of weeks ago. It focuses on a young man named Willis Wu, who was typically a background character on the screen, playing generic Asian man. But his main desire is to be Kung Fu guy. And once he hits the spotlight, he realizes that all is not as it seems. It is a book that's playing with stereotypes and what it means to be seen as a fully realized individual. Charles has done amazingly, and it's going to be turned into a TV show with Jimmy O Yang playing the character of Willis Wu. Taika Waititi will be directing the first episode and executive producing, and then Charles Yu himself will be the showrunner, which means a lot for a writer like me who wants to cross over.
Have control over it.
Yeah, so that's Interior Chinatown.
Okay, this next one is your pick for best memoir, and you should say everyone should read this.
Oh my God, Token Black Girl by Danielle Prescott. It is her debut memoir, and in it she is excavating her experience as a token black girl growing up in Westchester, New York, then taking us through her prep school education in Connecticut, and bringing us into her forays in the ferocious arena of fashion. Danielle wrote it like a hip professor, so not someone who's barraging you with sleep-inducing soliloquies, but reaching you and teaching you in an accessible and engaging way.
Is there a happy ending, or am I going to cry and be like, oh, my life?
She's still alive, so I guess it's a happy ending.
But I'm like, is she happy? Is she all right?
I mean, you gotta read it.
I want to read it,
you
but I'm
gotta
like,
read it.
okay.
This is a book that I believe with every fiber of my being should and will be taught in schools and universities.
Here,
it's so
pass that
powerful.
over
That's
here.
for
All
you.
right, all right. All right, so for those of us looking for a good love story, what do you have? What do you have?
We have With Your Bad Self by Erica Fields Nolte. This is her debut novella. I got a copy early enough, so I loved it, and I just gave it a blurb. It is about a young woman named Marie, setting in World War II, but Marie's mother says that she is not able to be with the man that she loves. He goes off to serve, but then a new man rolls up. And does she get with him? Does she wait for her previous man? I don't know. I mean, I do, but for
But you
to
can't
know,
let us tell. You can't tell us.
I can't tell you.
All right.
No one wants that one too.
You got to pre-order the book in order to see.
There you go.
But Kerika's prose just floats like cigarette smoke from page to page. And it's just
That's why he's a writer.
Yeah,
There you go.
tell us
Tell us about People Person.
Sure, yeah, People Person. So for fans of Candice Carty-Williams, you already know that she is incredible at striking a balance between humor and heart. And this book does the same. It's set on about 5 siblings who are all technically half-siblings, connected by their father, who was a charming but also neglectful guy, Cyril Pennington. They met when they were younger, but they come together after tragedy strikes. The book will make you laugh, it'll make you cry, and it'll also make you grateful. That G word we say around this time of year, grateful for how life can bring people together when they need it most.
Last but not least, really quickly, this page turner.
This is what you're reading.
Plenty Rhythm, debut by Laura Worrell. It's about a man, Circus Palmer. He is 40, but he feels as though he's a washed-up musician, plays the trumpet. It's the question of what happens as we age and our dreams age with us. But perhaps what's most brilliant is that Laura focuses on the women whose lives intersect with circus, giving them free range to play their solos, for us to learn their stories throughout the novel, and for us to understand what it means to stop playing the same tune over and over again.
Even when Mateo talks about books.
I'm trying to take your spot. I'm trying to take your spot.
Mateo, thank you.
We got a phone book back here for you to read.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
To see Mateo's picks, just go to today.com/books. Third hour of Today, right back
What
after
was the one? The cigarettes on the page?
Cigarette
Like,
floats
Floats
like
from the page
cigarettes.
to page.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. And let's just get to the point. They have started to vote on the PACT Act. If you're like, Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. So, Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Danny. You are
I was trying to do it on the slide.
Live TV, man. It's okay.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight and expert analysis. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
Well, that's going to do it for us today. Tomorrow in the third hour of Today, actor Charlie Hunnam live in studio.
And coming up on Hoda and Jenna, actress, model Emily Ratajkowski.
We'll do better tomorrow.
Will we?
I feel like I'm
Will we really?
mocking them.
Have a great day today.
Answers come when you need them most. Ooh, let it go. the Today Show's newest fan.
Little Al Roker.
What am I doing here? This is your moment, your moment.
Today, we are catching up with mega influencer Emily Ratajkowski, plus how actress Lake Bell found her voice. And good news for Bridget Jones fans, a fourth movie in the works, and we're talking about it.
It's Today with Hoda and Jenna. It all starts right now.
Hey, everybody, it is Wednesday. It's November the 2nd.
We are in November.
And
It's
our
Tuesday.
Tuesday look.
You know what? This is going to be a multi-wear.
Can I tell you something? We promised to give this one to Cheryl Lee Ralph, who was
So
here
you're going to have to
yesterday.
send that to
I'm
her?
going to send it to her. I would like to thank Sydney because she chose the dress, one of our awesome staffers, and she chose
Look how
the boots.
pretty it is on you.
Jenna, I
this
love
is
this.
chosen
By
by
the way,
Erin Brownlee. Thank you, Erin.
You rocked it. By the way, you know what? This is kind of your summer look.
Yeah.
I picture this as your summer look.
Yes.
Like you like
I
a
like it
peasant
sort of-
dress.
I do.
You like that with clogs.
It's comfortable.
You know, that kind of thing.
You know what I mean? It feels good.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Okay, let me just tell you one quick thing. So I had dinner with Maria Shriver
Yes.
last night, and it was really fun. But one of the, she's one of those people who's like a teacher. So we were talking about life and things and people and blah, 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 blah. And she said, you know those people who are in your world and they kind of like when they poke you.
Yeah.
They poke you. And every time they come, you're like, oh, here comes that one again. Sometimes, whatever it is.
Yes.
And she said, you have to reframe it. And she said, and remember this, those are your teachers, okay?
The pokers?
The pokers. Because they're hitting something in you that bothers you. They're just the button. They're just pushing it. They're just touching
It
the
has
part that
nothing to do with
nothing to do
them.
with them. So you have to figure out what it is that this person is eliciting in you. Like, what's this feeling?
Yes.
Like some people they walk up and you feel insecure.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, wait. So that they're teaching you. So each person who's come into your life and you're like, rawr, that person, that person, that person. And I love that reframing. That was like one of a million things we talked about, but I was so into that and all the other stuff.
I love it.
You love that?
Yeah, I sat next to her too in
And
the makeup chair.
Got anything? Lots.
Everything. I'm going to tell you.
It's like
commercial break
it's
is
like
going to just
therapy,
be
except fun.
filled with some revelations.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Halloween is over.
Yes.
Although it still feels like we're kind
Lingering.
of holding on to it. There's candy everywhere. But Heidi Klum, who
Oh,
is
gosh,
known.
when she does something, she goes all out. She is, you know how Mariah's the queen of Christmas?
She's the queen of Halloween.
Queen of Halloween.
She and Stephanie Roll. Okay,
Yeah.
so this year
Oh, yeah.
she did not disappoint. This was her costume.
Let's see.
Can you recognize her?
Oh my God, that is so weird.
This was what she was wearing. And this
Now,
is...
she could talk. That's her face. You
Well,
can
let's
hardly
see.
see it.
Well, let's hear her.
Oh, the interview. Okay, let's see.
Let's hear her. Wow, she looks like bacon up close.
I just wanted to think outside the box, do something different. I want to put a smile on people's faces. I want to go like she was. What? A rainworm? I just want to say this is one of my best ones. I don't know if you agree, but I feel like $1 million.
Is she ringworm or rainworm?
I think they said she was a rainworm. That was
Ringworm would have
Ringworm would have been really nasty.
Mila actually likes collecting those, and they're not as gross in real life as they are.
Ringworms?
Rainworms.
What are just regular worms?
They're worms that come out sometimes when it rains. They live in the dirt.
USA Today. She did that interview with USA Today. Anyway, that was pretty cool.
Okay, here she was dancing because I actually
Oh my
was
God,
like,
you can move around?
well, her head could move. Could her body?
Oh my God, she was jumping. Look at Quest. He's like, what up?
Do you think
What's
she
happening?
wore that outfit the entire night? Does anybody have the answer to that?
She had to go to the restroom.
She changed.
Well, she must have.
Do we have the picture of the outfit change?
What was under that?
Let's show. Well, this is what was under.
For real?
For real.
Oh, y'all.
I saw a picture of her getting into the worm dressed like that, and I just thought, wow, two very different looks. Two very different looks.
You know what? Here's what Heidi Klum does. She commits.
Goes all in.
And she doesn't care about whether she's sexy
No.
or whatever.
That's a lesson for some teenage girls that I know.
You're right.
That
You're
is
absolutely right.
Look at Heidi Klum.
She had more fun as a worm than she would have as like a Playboy
I mean,
bunny.
I always, and you typically, not always, but I'm used
Hideous.
I like to be the funny
Hideous.
character.
Funny,
Austin
fat,
Powers.
yes, all those things. They're much more fun
The
to play.
teeth.
But when I think of commitment, I do think of Heidi Klum, but I also think of you because when you learned you were going to be Celine Dion, you were like, when? Yes. You're like, do you want to sing the track? You're like, no, I want to. You totally. Wait, I want to know what's going on inside the Bush Hager brain while this is going down. What are you doing? What are you channeling?
I really try. I mean, I love Celine Dion. I love
But
her.
is that what you're thinking about?
Yes, I was thinking I mean, obviously I was playing a caricature of her, which was myself, but I love her, and I sang that song. That day, all of my college girlfriends were like, this is the best, because that song, and When You Touch Me Like This, was like our go-to song our senior year that we would like weirdly belt out. And I've been practicing that moment for 22 years.
For your whole life.
Yeah.
It came to fruition
And it came
on
to
Halloween.
fruition.
And how about, remember when you did your thirst trap? You were equally as committed. You don't just come to go like, what do you need me to do? You're like, get me in the front. I need to read my sexy book with my hair.
I mean, by
and
the
my
way, you were
glasses.
right there blow drying my hair
Well,
with me.
I was trying to enhance, but look at who poses like that? You.
But you know what? And honestly, somebody was like, well, you guys are just keep doing this Halloween. And I'm like, you want to know why? Because it's joyful.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's fun.
People want to laugh.
It's
like
fun.
I
You
think
gotta let go.
it's like to bring some
Rip
levity
off the news corset every now and then.
Yes.
And just say.
Did it feel good to take that news corset off?
It felt great. It felt great. And it always does. Here's the funny thing. People who commit, I think, are successful. And I always remember this one story, and it stuck with me for many years. I might have told you. But anyway, Connie Chung was delivering a speech to a bunch of, journalists.
Yeah.
It was a huge room. It was black tie.
Yeah.
And she got up to the podium. I introduced her, so I got to, from her vantage point, I could see the world.
Yeah.
And it was a long time ago. It was when your dad was running against Kerry.
Yeah.
So she sang a song, and she goes, I'm going to begin with a song. And I was like, what's happening? She goes, Bush and Kerry, boom, together. And I saw the audience go like, oh my God. Like everyone was kind of cringy. And I was watching this whole, I thought I was watching like a slow motion crash.
Yeah.
I was like, what is she going to do? And all of a sudden it came down time for verse 2. You know what she did?
Yeah.
She took the volume and cranked it. She was like, Bush and the whole audience was like,
yeah.
All of a sudden, she dove in the deep end, and that taught me a lesson.
Yes.
I thought, if you pull back, you're making a mistake. You either just go all in. Try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You'll get a laugh. But if you go, oh, that didn't work. Good try. Let me move on. It's no good.
Or if you start to feel like questioning yourself. The thing is,
Self-conscious.
it's funny and fun.
And who cares?
Yes.
That's what we have to
who
live
else
like.
commits?
Who
I like?
Who?
Bridget Jones.
Yes. Oh, Bridget Jones.
From the
Totally
Bridget
commit.
Jones Diary movies. Remember she went in that bunny rabbit outfit?
You remember in the snow?
The Playboy outfit?
Remember?
She didn't care.
She don't care.
She don't care. That's why we love her. And guess what? Evidently a fourth film is in the works.
We have to have it. But we can only have it if the same cast is in it.
Well, I agree. But the screenwriter, Helen Fielding, who also wrote the book, she revealed she's working on bringing another one to the big screen. And she said the next one would be based on Fielding's 2013 novel, Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy. I
Okay.
wonder what boy she's mad about.
What are you talking about? Anyway, this is about Bridget's life as a newly single mom in her 50s.
Dating
again.
It has to have Renee.
Well, it has to. And it
Hugh.
has to have Colin first.
And Colin.
Yeah, it's got to have Hugh, Colin, and
Wait,
Renee.
did Colin die?
I don't remember.
Did he die? Nobody remembers.
Possibly.
What would you like?
Okay.
Nobody remembers.
Usually
Would
they
you like
tell
a
you.
sequel to anything?
You know what's funny? I mean, my favorite movie is Love Actually,
Yeah.
but I liked it because of exactly what it was.
'Cause it stood long.
and where I was when I saw it. So I feel like all those old feelings.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes when they do a remake, you're not in that spot.
No, I
Everyone just
know.
got older.
I want Can't Buy Me Love. Remember that classic?
yeah.
But the problem is, it was a high school film, and now they're like probably Patrick Dempsey is like a dad.
my God,
He'd
look
be like
at
a
the
dad
quality
selling
of that.
insurance. I know.
Just look at that. It looked like it was from the 70s. All right, this is important. It is
Okay.
time it's a new month, and it's time to start reading again.
Yes.
It's time for your pick.
Oh my gosh, and I'm obsessed with this pick. Drum roll, please.
Yeah.
It's The Cloisters by Katie Hayes.
Way to go.
Okay, Hoda, this is the best mystery. I've only chosen two. This is my second mystery in the 40-book run. The Turnout by Megan Abbott and this. Those are the only two real
So
mysteries.
what was it about this mystery?
Okay, so this book follows a young woman who moves to New York City. So we kind of all know that feeling.
Yes.
She feels like an outsider. And she gets a job at this place called the Cloisters, which is a Met Museum on the Upper West Side or Far West Side. Okay, she basically meets this girl, and it's kind of this talented Mrs. Ripley thing where they're competitive, but they also, single white female-ish. But it's also set in this gothic. Somebody dies. It's a mystery. It's set in this crazy museum. There's love triangles.
Love triangles and murders?
And there are two twists, not just one, but two.
Were you surprised?
That I did not see coming. Two.
Wait, your whole game is to figure something out.
I mean, I've solved every Law and Order there is.
But this one you can't.
No.
You couldn't crack it.
So good. I hope y'all will read with us.
yeah.
And I'm so excited because we're having our first ever Read with Jenna book club event. It's conversation and cocktails.
Can anybody go?
Anybody can go. Our author, Katie Hayes, will join. We may do some tarot card stuff. It's going to be very cool.
So wait, is it virtual?
It's all virtual.
Okay,
so
good.
if you want to attend, you have to go and to find out how to get the book. It includes the book and all that, everything. Just scan our QR code right here or head to today.com/read with Jenna. Please come. It'll be
my God,
fun.
that sounds like
and
a
we're gonna
lot
have
of fun.
breakout book discussions.
You know what? That sounds real. And the cocktails, too. Coming up next, is it okay to set up a play date for your kids without inviting the friend's parents?
Huh. I say sure. We're answering your social dilemmas right after this.
Yeah.
You have to. No, yes, the kids play by themselves.
Yeah, you don't want
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
You get one beautiful life to live. What are you going to do?
This show is so fun, but having you as a positive force means really the world to me.
Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold, okay?
We have this circle of women that love each other.
I decided I'm going to go with the rhythm of life.
And you love riding the wave.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Yeah.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight and expert analysis. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
We are back. It's Wednesday, and it's time for Hoda and Jenna's Social Dilemmas.
Okay, here's the first one. You want
Ready.
to hear it? I agreed to help my friend with her first Christmas party in her new home. Okay, now she's obsessing over every detail, and she's already started sending me to-do list. It's too much. Can I back out?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a quick yes.
Yeah. Well, because you're doing it, and now she's overdoing it. So it's like, I feel like you have this. I kind of set the groundwork. I think you have it. You're now down to details. I think you've got this. So why don't you take this and run? I cannot wait. I can't wait to do that. Don't you think? Because...
Okay, I don't, but that was a great excuse.
No, but not even an excuse. It's like when someone starts sending you to-do lists for a party that you're helping with.
That's 2 months away.
That's 2 months away.
But I think what you could say, because I think what it is the person is really excited. She's just moved to a new home.
Yeah.
She's really excited. Her friend is trying to be there. So I think what you could say is this. Okay, I'm going to help you, but I can't start thinking about it till after Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's good.
Because Jenna Bush
That's
Hager
good.
said that she wants Thanksgiving to be big this year.
Yeah.
And so I promised my own family some turkey and some things.
So we'll get serious
so do
about
whatever
it.
you can do for this month.
By the way, that's a good compromise.
Right?
I like that one better.
Okay.
That wins it.
All right.
Next up, my 7-year-old daughter wants to have a play date. I don't really want to hang out with the friends' parents all afternoon. How do I make it clear that the play date is only for the kids?
Do you want to know how? The play date is only for the kids. Drop the kid. You know what?
Drop them.
What this person doesn't realize, if somebody says to me, the play date is just for the kids.
You're like relieved.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
You know what that means? That person
2
can chill.
hours to do whatever you want.
Lay in bed and read.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think you do say that. Make it clear.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that a million times. Drop her,
course.
and then you
Yeah,
come back in 2 hours.
Right.
I'm going to let them play in the room and play Barbies.
Yeah.
You know, play dates do not need to be entertaining other people.
No.
It's for the children.
And often when all the grown-ups are there, the kids are constantly asking for things, and I need
know.
this and I need that. Just kind of get out of the way.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
good. You're on a roll. All right.
Well, so are you.
Okay.
All
What's
right,
the last one?
last one. It's officially cuffing season, and I've been dating a guy now
We need to change cuffing. It sounds
sounds
like ball
gross.
and chain.
I mean, when I say it, I feel. I think it's actually like.
I think
weird.
it's too much.
Okay, let's just change it to. What is it then? We'll think of a word. But I've been dating a guy now for 3 months. We both really like each other and have been enjoying each other's company, and I want to lock it down. 3 months?
Down? Lock it down?
How do I make it happen? That sounds.
No. I think if you try to lock it down, he's probably going to vamoose. Don't you?
Locking it down
after 3 months.
But what is she trying? How far is she trying to lock it? She trying to lock him into marriage, or
probably just to be exclusive, maybe. I think after 3 months, I would probably want to be exclusive.
Yeah, well, then I think you can just say, I'm planning not to date other people. What about you?
Yeah, that's good.
And if the person says, I am,
then you
say, all right, peace out.
Peace out.
And you got to find somebody else while the cuffing season
Wait,
is
but
hot.
I think just the verbiage in that cuffing season, I want to lock it down. I think you got to just take a step back.
That's
and,
true.
You know, it's a lot of.
Yeah. Are you a cougar?
Gosh.
All right, we got somebody in the house. But also, if you have a social dilemma and you want to hear about it, head to hodaandjenna.com and hit the connect button.
Look who is here, actress and model Emily Ratajkowski.
Okay, she's got so much going on. We're going to talk about all of it, plus how she's enjoying life as a single mom, right after this.
God help me. Okay, listen.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
I love you too.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. And let's just get to the point. They have started to vote on the PACT Act. If you're like Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Danny. You are.
I was
you got
trying to
it.
do it on the slide.
Live TV, man. It's okay.
Emily Ratajkowski is probably one of the most photographed stars on the planet right now.
So you think you may know Emily, but there's a lot more than what you see in magazines and on social media. Now the actress, the model, and best-selling author is opening up like never before. She's got a new podcast. It's called High Low with Emrata. I like the name. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Good to see you guys.
We're so happy to have you here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, it's so interesting because we just said you're one of the most photographed women there is. And yet, like, your own narrative, I mean, you wrote a best-selling memoir where you got to tell your own story. Does owning your narrative feel crucial to you right now?
Oh my gosh, control. I love control. I love control, and also, yeah, it's really nice to put a voice to the image, right?
Yeah. Well, I think like people think they know you. It's like people must walk up with a preconceived notion, like, oh, I know all about this. What is the most common misconception about you?
Oh God, it's not even that fun. People don't think I'm American. They think I'm like from a foreign place, and I'm like, no, I'm actually from California. Like I grew up saying gnarly. Yeah.
This podcast is very cool. Tell us a little bit about how it came to be, what the genesis of is, and what you hope it does.
Well, when I was writing the book, I love podcasts. I love NPR. I grew up listening to This American Life and Terry Gross. I was like driving to LA from San Diego all the time, and that's how I would stay awake behind the wheel when I was starting to model. So I loved radio. And then, I was writing the book, and I just was thinking about how I love the idea of a podcast as a medium, because for me, it's somewhere between an essay and a TikTok.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite things to make.
Exactly.
As I was writing my book of essays, and I just decided to wait until the book was published and out in the world and people could kind of see my POV before I started the podcast. But it's been a year since the book was published, and it just feels like the right time, and that's it.
When you said you were driving back and forth to LA, did your career come easily? Like when you rolled up, were they like, that's an it, girl?
Oh my God, no, rejection.
So what were the rejections?
So much rejection.
Tell us,
Oh, I mean, it's, so many people now are like, roll their eyes, but it's like, oh, she's too short. her body's this type of way, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's the name of Hollywood and
so
modeling.
why stick with it? Because rejection is tough for anybody.
The money was good.
Yeah.
That was why. And I wanted to go to college, and it was right after the economy had collapsed, and I was just like, I want to work. And then it turned into a career.
And did you end up going to school? Or?
I dropped out.
Yeah.
College dropout.
What were you majoring in?
Art. Actually, believe it or not. Yeah, so that would have been a really lucrative.
Well, you're an artist in so many ways.
You are.
I mean, you get to write and tell stories.
Thank you for saying that.
You're also a mom.
Yes.
You have
we were just talking about it.
How has this little man changed your life?
Oh my God.
Look at him.
Yeah, that was last week. He came to Europe with me.
Oh my gosh, how did you do that? You took him to Ibiza. Were y'all in clubs?
I was shooting. No, I was working. My Ibiza was like not the Ibiza that people see. He's just amazing. There he is. He's such a good little boy.
Tell
Thank
us
you.
about what you were like before him and what you're like now.
Oh my God. I mean, I feel like I have so much more energy, kind of because I have to. I wonder if you guys relate. I don't know. Because I have to wake up with him, and I never have time to myself in the same way. I can sleep like 6 hours and have a full day and be so productive and feel. It's like super mom energy. It comes to you after you become a mom.
And what's he like as a little boy?
He's so sweet. He's got a really good sense of humor. He says he's obsessed with dogs. His favorite word is doggin. We live with a 90-pound dog, actually.
By the way, I saw your dog dressed up for Halloween.
He stole the show this weekend.
He really
stole the show.
He was dressed up as do we have a picture? He was dressed up as the grandma.
There he is.
Okay,
they were Little Red Riding.
I can't. So, Emily, you talked about your life's changed recently. This is the first time, I think, in your life that you are single.
What does that feel like?
It's crazy. It's so nice. Honestly, I don't know about anything to anybody, and I can just kind of, other than my son, that's the only man.
Yeah. Is that like, why do you think before? Because actually, it's so interesting. I was a serial monogamist too.
I was too.
And I'm wondering why in college in those years I felt like I couldn't be alone.
Yeah, I think it was a way for me to protect myself. I was, like entering a really crazy industry and working in a really crazy industry where now I think we can accept there are a lot of kind of predatory, scary men, and I think it was a way for me to feel safe. And also, I just wanted to be loved, honestly, and have that validation. And it's not bad, but it's really nice to be. I'm 31, and I have a little one, and I have this career, and just kind of doing my own thing.
Well, Tracy Ellis Ross was on this set, and she said, "I spent my life waiting to be chosen," and she goes, "And then it hit me. I'm the chooser.
Yeah.
I get to decide." I feel like that's what's happening.
You guys know the pick me girl phrase? It's like a TikTok thing where people are like, the pick me girl. You want to be chosen. You want to be picked. And I was a pick me girl. And
now what are you now?
Well, I don't know. Can we curse on the show?
Depends on the words.
Feels like we can, but
I think I've been joking that I'm in my B era.
Oh, yeah.
But like I like that word because I feel like I'm reappropriating it. It has negative connotations. For me, it's like no, it's a good thing. I don't put up with shit.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know what? We knew it had to come out somewhere. Emily, it's so fun to talk with you.
You guys can catch High Low with Emrata wherever you get your podcast. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I mean, and by the way, you're into cuffing season, the name of it.
I loved you guys talking about cuffing season and then locking it down. I was like, oh wow. Now
We're
you're
getting
girl
there.
too.
We need another word for cuffing season, but we'll figure it out. Coming up next, we speak in unison. Coming up next, a little whining and dining, a classic French chicken dish made easy after this.
Cordon bleu.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
The general election is right around the corner.
If you have voting questions, we have voting answers.
Head to NBCnews.com/planyourvote.
You'll find voter registration deadlines, early voting dates,
Vote by mail information, and so much more. Because some of the rules have changed since 2020.
Now's the time to start planning for your November vote.
What's the state of the United States? That is up to you.
On your mark, get set, plan your vote.
Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
All right, when we think of French cuisine, we think of complicated dishes that are hard to say and also hard to cook. But today, you're in for a treat.
We are going to show you a classic meal made simple by two-time James Beard Award.
Not just once.
Not just once. Okay, all right. Gavin Kaysen. His debut cookbook at home is filled with family recipes. Some even passed down from his grandma.
I love that, Gavin.
Well, wow, you're something special.
You know, and this was a recipe that was passed down to me by Danielle Ballud, my old boss.
Wow.
I love it. We love
He
him.
tried to teach us how to cook.
It didn't work.
It was terrible.
That's why we're here again.
So what are we making today?
Okay, so this is coq au vin. So it's a
Coq au
classic
vin.
red wine braised chicken. So in the pot, you have all of your vegetables, mushrooms, garlic, onions, bacon. You take the chicken,
We smelled the bacon this morning, by the way.
put the chicken inside. This is reduced red wine.
So you,
And you
is that
just pour this-
how do you reduce red wine?
You just put it in a pot and you just turn it on low heat.
And that cooks the alcohol out of it or
Cooks the
something?
alcohol out, and then it kind of just concentrates everything. So you mix that up, you let it marinate overnight.
Okay. Cover it. Can you put it in the fridge with just some paper?
Yeah, just put it like this, put it in a Ziploc bag, whatever. Put that sachet in.
A sachet. This is fancy.
So it's fennel seeds, peppercorns, bay leaf, thyme, and you just put it in a
Wrap
little
it in.
cheesecloth.
And does
then
that
you put it in
cheesecloth stay in there all night long?
Yep, you just let everything sit in there. And then when you take it out,
Look at that.
it looks like this. Okay,
Purple.
so it's purple, right? We wanted to get a matching sheet tray. I think we did a good job.
Looks
All right?
gorgeous and a matching pot.
Yeah. So then you season with a little bit of salt and some cracked black pepper. Okay.
So is this a fancy dish or not? Like
It's not.
anybody can
This
do
is
it.
like-
Well, I mean,
this is
so far,
like-
these two steps look pretty
This is like
easy.
home cooking right here. This
Okay.
is the whole idea of the book. Now we're gonna just sear it into the pan, okay?
You have two little
So-
boys. Would they eat this?
Yeah, oh my God, yes.
They
This
love
is
it?
it. Like this book, so we created this book for them in a way.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the
Okay.
food that I cook for the kids. I cook for my family.
Yeah.
But it's funny because they'll rate the food, right? So I'll make this
What do you
coq au
mean?
vin for them, and I'll say, okay, Julie, Samia, what did you think? And they'll say, you know, Dad, it was like a 10.2. I'm like,
God.
what's
At
10.6?
least, by the way,
What
you're
happened?
getting a 10.2. We get like 3.1.
Okay, so that's good.
Okay, so this.
So once you
is
sear it,
so you put it in a Dutch
Do
oven.
you also
Yep, go ahead, put all that in there.
All that in.
Okay?
Mushroom,
And
celery.
then this is a bit of the bacon, which is all rendered out as
Ooh,
well.
I
So
want
you-
a bite.
So you put everything in like this.
And you fished out the cheesecloth?
Ew.
So, but we're gonna put that in over here
Oh.
because this. So we're gonna put this in here because basically
Drop
this
it in
turns
there?
into this. Drop it into there.
So we took it out of that
Yep.
and just put it in.
Yep. So now you have all of the vegetables that are cooking. I take the chicken out. You add a little bit of this flour.
How long did you cook that?
So you're just gonna sear this. So you're gonna cook it for about, I don't know, 12, 15 minutes. Okay.
So
You
add
put more
flour.
wine?
So you add this flour and you're making a roux.
Okay.
You just sort of cook
You want
that
to add
down.
this in?
Go ahead, sure.
What
add
is
the
that?
wine. That's the wine again.
Reduced?
Is
or
it the
regular?
same wine or more wine?
This is the
Whole
same
thing?
wine, so we save this.
Oh, you save it.
Yeah, you don't want to get rid of that wine. Now you just sort of cook this down. Go ahead, add the chicken stock.
Chicken stock?
Okay, I'm stepping back to eat.
And then you put this in here.
And,
all the chicken.
and how
goes in.
long does that cook?
Hour and 20 minutes in the
Okay,
oven.
wait, we got to still make the
I know.
pasta.
I
Wait,
know.
girl,
They're
wait.
telling me we got to go cut. Hi, Lake.
Oh, 30 seconds.
Okay, so then the spetzel, you push through the colander.
What is spätzle?
So it's a dough. It's yogurt, eggs,
Look at it.
milk, flour.
Is it good for you?
Dump it in. It's so good for you. Can you dump it in there?
Yeah, I'm trying.
There, good. Okay, good. Look at that.
Ooh, wow.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It's like a science experiment.
Yeah, and it goes through
And then you sear it up, you cook it.
Wait.
Come eat.
Wait, what's happening? Oh, it goes
So,
through?
look. Come here, hold this.
I just want to
Don't
see.
hurt.
What do you
Wait,
do?
look what's happening.
Don't hurt.
What are you
Is it like
doing?
slime?
You push it through.
Pushing it through
You push
so
it
it
through.
makes those things.
See?
That's homemade pasta,
That's homemade
Jenna.
pasta.
It's like little
This is
balls.
crazy.
Taste it.
Look.
Oh my God. And then you just boil it?
And then you sear it.
And then you sear it?
That's right. So look, I got a pan, some butter, and the spetzel.
Do you know what I might
Cook
try
this
to
down.
do? Devin, I might take this home to my kids and act like I make it.
You should. And if
I'll
you get a
get a rating.
10.6, you can just pawn it off to me.
I'll put it on Instagram.
Okay, thanks.
I won't get a 10.6.
For this recipe, head to today.com/food. Get Kevin's book, today.com/book.
Coming up next, actress Lake Bell sounds off on her latest. Oh, look at her.
Come on, Lake.
She's dancing. Latest obsession. Coming up after this.
into the camera.
This is good.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight and expert analysis. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCNews.com/plan your vote today.
You get one beautiful life to live. What are you going to do?
This show is so fun, but having you as a positive force means really the world.
Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold, okay?
We have this circle of women that love each other.
I decided I'm going to go with the rhythm of life.
And you love riding the wave.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
I love you too.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Lake Bell, she's an actress, she's a writer, she's a director. She's got more than 60
Wow.
TV and movie credits to her name, but you may not know this. She also happens to be very obsessed with voices.
I mean, so much so that she's got a new audiobook all about it called Inside Voice.
Your obsession with voices, when did that even begin?
It started at really a time, truly like when I was like 2 or something. The second I found my own little voice, I was, utilizing it and wielding it in fun ways. And I feel like it is, we think about what necklace we're going to put on with what blouse and what shoe.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, your voice is this communication beacon between people when you first meet them. And so I think of it as, it's our roadmap. It's our roadmap of all of our traumas, our joys. If we smoked in our teens, when we shouldn't
Can you
have.
tell that I might have?
Well, it is interesting. You have these things, whether you like it or not, right?
That's part of you.
Like even if you went to a lot of concerts or something, right? And you're screaming, or you sang, if you sang as a kid, maybe you were in choir, then you're super supported in your voice.
Oh, that's
you're more
interesting.
acutely aware of how to use
Isn't
your
it funny?
breath.
We don't know what our own voices sound like.
And when we hear them,
Anymore,
like, remember when we used to
cringe.
listen to our answering
It
machine?
was like, who is
Right,
that?
well, still a voice. I mean, when you hear your voice back, you guys are in news media, right?
Yeah.
Like you hear
Yeah.
your voice all the time.
Yes.
Do you have a sense of
reaction?
No, I don't. Yes, I kind of do, but I just.
You like it, or how do you? Because
I feel like mine's
think
fine.
we're loud.
Fine. Our volume is high.
We want to turn it down.
Right.
But the thing is, also in this business, people have said, lower your voice, so it's kind of a news anchor.
So it's
Right.
more
And we have
authoritative.
like Belle here.
Gravitas.
Yes. Well, listen, I do the same thing. I think that women, we are constantly thinking about our voice. I mean, even in the world of politics, when we think about this is in the book as well. Yeah. You think about what female voice is electable, like who. But it's interesting. We have people like AOC, who has a beautiful, youthful, very feminine voice that is changing the shape of what we think of as an authority.
Politician.
Politician. And a politician.
And do you have a bunch of different voices?
Look, I do.
There's one we want to hear, and you know it.
It's the sexy baby. I understand. Listen, it's one of the greats.
What is the First of all, what is the sexy baby?
Sexy baby is.
It's a sound that really is prevalent. And it's really a combination. It has nothing to do with socioeconomics or education. But it is really high pitched. And there's uptalk and fry.
And it's.
Oh my God.
You love it?
I want to know her.
But you
What's
know
her
her.
name?
She's in so many places.
So listen,
Well,
here's
that's
the
true.
deal.
We know her.
That's true.
I think that it is. Look, I love women. I have girlfriends, and I'm a girl's girl. So I'm in conflict about the idea that I would have any qualms with anybody's voice, especially a woman.
Yeah.
But that is a tough one for me to swallow.
Are people? I feel like people imitate people, and they.
And also, why is that voice something that bothers us? Do you know what I mean?
Reality television. There's a multitude of reasons that I think in pop culture that kind of lets it permeate into our everyday voice.
Wait, so you're in the Wakanda Forever movie?
So I'm allowed to say now that I'm in it.
Are you Black Panther?
I am the Black Panther. Okay, they went a different
We knew it was Lake Bell.
I knew it was definitely.
I can talk about it. Can I talk about it now? Okay, I'm talking to people off camera that aren't there. No, I am not the Black Panther, but
that would be a stretch.
That would be a stretch.
Yeah.
But Ryan Coogler, the director of that movie, and I were class of 2013 Sundance. So we have this. The reason how I found myself there really is we do have this camaraderie, because I think once you go to Sundance with a team, those are your filmmaker buddies.
Yes,
that's really cool.
And so that's how
we
I got
have
there.
to ask you too. You were in a Nancy. It's complicated. A Nancy Meyers
Yes.
film. Can you just tell us, because we're kind of obsessed with her?
I got a good one for you.
Wait, what was it like to be in that kitchen?
Okay, particularly the kitchen.
Yeah.
So on the set, she had fresh croissants being made. But so we had a pastry chef there.
Wait,
so you would
what?
walk into and you would walk into the set. And you'd smell the
fresh
butter.
croissants.
Oh my gosh, you
Blake,
guys!
before you go, we have to say hello to the woman who brought you into this world.
She birthed me.
She
Your
gave you her
mom
voice.
is
Robin
here.
Bell.
Robin Bell.
Robin.
Everybody loves Robin.
Guys, it's a family affair today.
Oh my
Did
God.
Robin teach
Robin,
you
are you
your
so
voice?
how proud are you of your daughter?
Oh my goodness. She's like, why am I on live television right now?
We're so happy you brought your mom.
I know.
But that tells you everything about you.
Yeah, I mean, she's one of the great women. And also, she has been integral in helping me find my voice.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
And my daughter, I know that I have that responsibility with my daughter. It's like I don't want to talk like that, right, Mom? Because if I did, she.
That's
That's
why
she would still love you.
She would love me.
All right,
Yes.
we got to
Okay.
walk. But your book, which is awesome, Blake's audiobook, Inside Voice.
It's so
Head to
good.
today.com/.
I like it. Everybody
Thank
listen
you.
to it with us. And
Yep.
speaking of voices, hers got a standing ovation at the Grand Ole Opry. Country singer Madeline Edwards. After this.
Jesus, they're the only voices in my head.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCNews.com/planyourvote today.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The City Music Series on Today is proudly presented to you by City.
Pay close attention, pay very close attention. The country artist you're about to meet is taking off. Her name is Madeline Edwards.
Oh my gosh, she's incredible. The Texas native is one of Spotify's hot country artists to watch. And today, we're so excited because she's making her national morning show debut, celebrating her new album, Crash Landed.
Hey, girl.
It really does feel like you've sort of crash landed into this crazy music career.
It feels like it for me too.
I mean, you've been working on it forever, though.
Since you're 4.
I've been working on this basically my whole life. This feels like a whole lifetime worth of work into one album.
And you got to perform at the Grand Ole Opry.
I did.
What are you going to sing for us?
I'm going to sing The Wolves, which I wrote with 2 songwriters in Nashville, and I'm very proud of this song.
All
We
right.
can't wait.
Take it away. Have fun.
I dare you to try to take me down. Say that I can, I won't or shouldn't. Then watch me rise above it. I dare you to cover me in doubt. To question every move I make every minute. I get off on it and love it. Well, no one's gonna break my soul. You think by now you would know that I ain't scared of nothing, scared of nothing, scared of nothing. No, I ain't ever running, never running, never running. No, pick up my pride, I'm ready to fight. I'm separate, I'm in control, so go ahead and throw me to the wall. Ooh. Oh, I'm laughing, it's howling at the moon, a different tune. I bet it hurts, bet it stings to watch me take on everything. You ain't in, you're in my way. I ain't got nothing left to say, but I ain't scared of nothing, scared of nothing, scared of nothing. No, I ain't ever running, never running, never running. No, pick up my pride, I'm ready to fight. I'm separate, I'm in control, so go ahead and call me to the world. Ooh, call me to the world. Oh, yeah. No one's gonna break my soul. You think by now that you would know that I ain't scared of nothing, scared of nothing, scared of nothing. No, I ain't never running, never running, never running. No, pick up my pride, I'm ready to fight. I'm separate, I'm in control, so go ahead and throw me to the world. Ooh, throw me to the world. Oh, yeah. Throw me to the world.
Amazing! Oh my God! Wait a minute. That was so awesome.
That when you win 1 million Grammys, you'll remember our names?
Are you kidding? We were here. Remember, you came here first.
You came here first.
It's worth someone saying.
Yeah, when she wins 1 million Grammys, She'll be right back here.
How do we not know you? We know you now.
Oh my
Everyone
gosh.
don't forget
I'm
her
downloading
name.
this right away. Madeline's album, Crash Landed. It drops this Friday, so don't forget. Put it in your calendar.
We're back right after this. Way to go, y'all.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCNews.com/plan your vote today.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Coming up tomorrow, we have Martha Stewart.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have to be on our best behavior. Martha, oh, I did not mean to cover you. Maybe she'll do a thirst trap. And from Mad Men to Girls, actress and author Sasha Mamet.
Plus, we're cooking with our friends from Sesame Street.
Wait, what? We're cooking with them and with Martha?
Bye.
That's awesome. Bye.
The hills are alive with the sights and smells and
tastes. Ah, come on. It's a food show. Now, nothing says autumn quite like apple. Whether it's a trip to an orchard like this, a warm slice of apple pie, or cheering with cider. But when did apples become the apple of America's eye? I left the Big Apple and I'm here in Massachusetts, where America's history with apples actually began. So today we are going to get to the core of how apples became a homegrown hero. How do you like them apples? Time to head out of Studio 1A and hit the road for a new kind of culinary adventure. Follow me as I taste some of the most iconic foods around the country and meet the families behind them. Together, we're going to learn how a good meal has the power to connect us to our past, our future, and each other. My family and I have been coming here to Hilltop Orchards in Massachusetts for the past 20 years. That's right. In fact, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better fall family activity than apple picking, and especially the apple cider donuts. And of course, what also pairs well with a trip to orchards? Cider. And they make a lot of it here at Hilltop. Oh, and did I mention the donuts? Meet David and Sarah Martell, high school sweethearts who reconnected in their 30s. Together, they run Hilltop Orchards.
We're definitely an apple orchard, but we're also a winery and a cidery, so we're a triple threat.
Today, David handles the operations of the orchard, cidery, and winery, with Sarah focusing on guest experience. The orchard's historic cider mill, where David played as a kid, was renovated in 1997. Now, they call it home.
I started coming to this orchard when I was about 6 years old. My father worked here then.
David left the Berkshires and worked in construction for several years. When he decided to return home, he really went back to his roots, taking a part-time job at Hilltop.
I've been in the orchard business for about 12 years now.
David's the third generation in his family, to work on the 100-something-year-old orchard. Did you ever think that you would be running the orchard someday?
Nah, in a million years. I quickly fell in love with these apple trees and decided that's what I'm going to do. Diving in and learning about all of the different apples and the history of apples.
And that history is pretty sweet.
I like to think of myself as an apple nerd. My name is Amy Traverso, and I'm the senior food editor at Yankee Magazine and the author of the Apple Lover's Cookbook.
Crab apples are the only variety indigenous to North America. Sweet apples were introduced to America by early colonists in the 1600s.
Sweet apples have their origins in this area of western China, sort of the border between Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, called the Tian Shan Mountain Range.
Those apple seeds came over with the Jamestown expedition, and trees were planted at Plymouth. But in the early days, colonists weren't making pies and tarts. Most apples grown in America at that time were more likely to be turned into cider than eaten.
Apples played a very important role when there was people coming from England. As they say on the boat, they would make hard cider because that cider would last, where water might spoil and someone would get sick.
This trend continued stateside. By 1775, 10% of all New England farms had a cider mill.
Today, I am at B.F. Clyde Cider Mill in Old Mystic, Connecticut.
Meet Amy Harrison and her daughter, Sarah Monk, 5th and 6th generation owners of Clyde's.
We're the last original steam-powered cider mill in the United States. Back in the 1800s, early 1900s, everybody had a cider mill that had a farm. We use the same press, it's the same mill, and not many people get to go to work and put their hands on a lever and say, you know what, my great-great-grandfather did this same thing back in 1898.
Cider was really important to early America because it was relatively easy to make. People had apples in abundance. And Thomas Jefferson and John Adams famously loved it, drank it every day. Children drank it because it was low in alcohol, but it was often safer than water. Water could often be contaminated at that time.
These days, Americans don't drink as much cider as the founding fathers.
Two things happened to kind of bring the apple to its knees. We had immigration from Germany and Czechoslovakia, which were beer-growing regions. Beer took over as the major American drink.
Another reason behind cider's decline?
Prohibition. Apples were very strongly associated with cider at the time. They were really seen as a source of alcohol.
My great-great-grandmother was arrested twice, never convicted, but arrested twice for bootlegging.
In the 1930s, Apple's sinful image was reborn as shipping methods improved. Sweet apples from Washington State could be transported all over the country, and the industry grew.
Apples then had to be remarketed as just a dessert thing, as something you bake with or eat fresh from your hand. And so apples, they went through this rebranding and emerged as this sort of innocent, sweet fruit that wasn't going to get you drunk or do anything naughty. It was just going to make a nice pie.
Now, even hard cider is making a comeback, due in large part to the craft beer boom in the late aughts.
Gluten's having a moment, so people are shying away from a lot of beers. Cider is fermented apples, and that's it. Where a lot of other beverages or mixed drinks or anything of that nature could have a lot of preservatives and different things added to them.
Today, Americans are drinking 10 times more cider than a decade ago, and that's meant big business for Hilltop.
Most of our guests are cider enthusiasts that are relatively new to the cider craze.
Hilltop making around 1,500 gallons daily, and I got a chance to give it a try, or a press.
They say time to make the donuts, it's time to make the cider.
So here's some gloves. I see you brought your boots.
Yeah, I did.
The process starts with freshly picked apples that are washed thoroughly. Next up, culling. As Benjamin Franklin once said, the rotten apple spoils his companion.
They're sorting through what's coming down the conveyor. This apple has some dings and bumps.
The good apples are sent to the grinding wheel.
And they will get ground up to an applesauce consistency.
Now it's my turn to prepare the ground apples for pressing.
So it's like an apple sludge diaper.
That's it.
Then the apples get pressed down to the last drop. That's 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. Up until this point, the process for sweet and hard cider is the same. Excellent. And nobody got hurt. Sweet cider would be bottled at this stage. For hard cider, the fermentation process begins.
So sweet cider becomes more popular once we can refrigerate apple juice to prevent it from fermenting.
In the mid-20th century, cider stands and apple picking became an American pastime, a tradition my family's enjoyed for more than 20 years each fall.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
I love you too.
The general election is right around the corner.
If you have voting questions, we have voting answers.
Head to NBCnews.com/planyourvote.
You'll find voter registration deadlines, early voting dates,
Vote by mail information, and so much more. Because some of the rules have changed since 2020.
Now's the time to start planning for your November vote.
What's the state of the United States? That is up to you.
On your mark, get set, plan your vote.
Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold.
We have this circle of women that love each other.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
I love you too.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
There's just something about apple picking that inspires my best dad jokes. What apple sayings have you heard?
There's a lot of insider sayings.
Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
They say the family that plays together stays together. The family that picks together sticks together.
There you go.
As far as my kids are concerned, my jokes are as much a part of our annual tradition as the apples themselves. It's like, oh, Dad. My family's been coming to Hilltop for more than 20 years, even before my two youngest were born.
I don't know if it's something about the season when apples ripen and it's starting to get cooler and you're thinking about like comforts of home and coziness. People have very intense emotional connections with apples.
Agritourism in the United States started becoming popular during the Industrial Revolution, when city dwellers looked to nature for recreation. Labor shortages during and after World War II saw farmers calling for volunteers to help pick crops. By the 1960s, enterprising farmers recognized America's love for apples. In the fall, the You Pick tradition became a profitable pastime at orchards all across the country. Is there a right way and a wrong way to pick an apple? Spoiler alert, there is a wrong way.
The problem with twisting and pulling the apple is that if it is not ripe, you're going to also get next year's apple.
Can you show me?
I can. So this is an apple that I know is not ready to pick yet.
Okay.
So if we were to lift up on this, if it was ripe, it would come free.
Right.
So it did not come free. Okay. Right next to it is some McIntosh apples.
Okay.
And if you go ahead and lift up on one at a kind of at an angle into the sky, it comes free.
Like that.
So that means that it's ripe. Okay. And the other thing is, well, that's the worst thing you can do when you're picking an apple. So we treat these like eggs and we place them in the bucket. There's sometimes little brown spots on them. That's from fingers.
Oh.
So the worst thing that you can do to somebody with a farm stand or a fruit grower is grab their apples and start squeezing them.
I do like the Honeycrisp.
Honeycrisp it is.
I was Gala, but I've moved to the Honeycrisp. With an empty nest, I thought this year's Roker family trip was going to look pretty different. But then I heard from my boy at college. Nick was very adamant about, okay, are you going to come pick me up so I can go apple pick? Because I thought, this will be the first year we don't have anybody to apple pick with. Much to my delight, the family that picks together does stick together.
The general election is right around the corner.
If you have voting questions, we have voting answers.
Head to NBCnews.com/planyourvote.
You'll find voter registration deadlines, early voting dates,
Vote by mail information, and so much more. Because some of the rules have changed since 2020.
Now's the time to start planning for your November vote.
What's the state of the United States?
That is up to you.
On your mark, get set, plan your vote.
Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
I only have pies for you. American Pie is certainly an American icon. And in Southern California, one local family's pies have achieved all-American status. And this holiday season, they're gearing up to make over 50,000 of these each week.
I love apple pie. Every time I eat apple pie, I think, man, my mom just hit it out of the park.
I'm Dave Smothers.
I'm Tim Smothers, and our mother started the Julian Pie Company in 1986.
From a young age, Liz Smothers developed a passion and a knack for baking.
She often tells the story of standing on a milk crate next to her mom.
I was probably 4 or 5 years old. I would crawl up on a box and take the little leftover pieces of dough and put them in a jar lid. I would put the little apple in my jar lid and cover it, and she would bake it in the oven just along with hers, and I would eat it. I would say that if I had not had that experience, I would never be in the pie business.
In the early 80s, the Smothers family moved to Julian, California, a picturesque mountain town near San Diego.
Funds were tight, so my mom ended up taking odd jobs.
When we moved here, I had to go to work. The only place that a job was available was in a bakery. And I tell you, after I started working with pie making, that old love just came right back.
That love was mutual. Liz's pies were in high demand at the local bakeries where she worked, quickly gaining a loyal following.
She had built up a reputation. There were stories that they would go in and go, I want one of her pies, and point at my mom.
A historic gold mining town, Julian thrives thanks to agriculture, namely its award-winning apples.
Once we came out here to Julian and she saw the opportunity, she just never looked back.
Wild horses couldn't have stopped me. Honestly, I was not thinking of how much money can I make. I just was dying to make a good pie like my mother made.
2 years after moving to Julian, Liz opened her own shop, the Julian Pie Company. She was 50 years old, proving it's never too late to embark on a dream.
My mom baked 120 pies, and she sold out the first day. It was a great grand opening.
In this shop, there's an apple pie for everyone.
It's the apple crunch with vanilla ice cream. It's not too sweet, and it's really fresh.
This is the most amazing pie I have ever had in my life.
From cherry apple to apple rhubarb, today, Julian has 15 unique apple pie varieties in rotation.
Thank you so much.
The most popular seller is the Dutch apple. My mom's kind of joke was that's the pie that pays our rent.
Today, the busy bakers here make up to 10,000 pies a day. Pie production beginning around 3 a.m. It's no surprise that fall is their busiest season.
Thanksgiving's the Super Bowl, and Christmas is like another Super Bowl.
The pies are primarily made by hand, starting off with 4 ingredients.
Pie crust is just flour, water, shortening, salt.
That's it.
It's the way you handle the dough, so you get a nice short bread crust rather than a chewy crust.
The brothers say their mom had a gift for knowing just when to stop kneading to make it perfect.
If you don't get the dough right, you might as well not have the business. Miguel's worked with my mom. He knows exactly the precise measurements of how to do things. We add a few hundred pounds of flour, very ice-cold water.
The twin arm mixer blends the dough.
That's what I think of as grandma's hands.
The 400-pound batch of dough heads to the extruder, where it's cut into individual portions.
So a 9.2-ounce puck falls into a pie shell, smashes the dough into a perfect shape. Then they go into our freezers and we use them as needed.
Next up, assembling the pies. Apples are peeled, sliced, then spiced.
Cinnamon, sugar, and salt. This is all my mom's original recipe. There'll be a little bit of butter. Every time that dumps, I just get giddy. I'm like, yes, we hit it out of the park. So these pies have all been packed. They're nice and round, kind of like a mushroom. Patty's going to begin lifting, which is separating the crust from the pie tin. If you don't do this step right here, that pie will bubble over in the oven. My mom was a queen fluter.
The pies are brushed with an apple cider egg wash before baking. Then they're cooled, boxed, and ready to be shipped. Julien's pies are sold in hundreds of stores, including big grocery chains like Albertsons, as well as mom and pop shops throughout San Diego.
My name's Sierra Smothers. I'm Liz Smothers' granddaughter. I grew up baking pies with my grandma. This job was actually my first job in high school.
These days, Sierra pitches in wherever she's needed, including driving the delivery truck.
I said, Sierra, do you want to spend the day with your dad and help me deliver pies? And she, of course, jumped at the opportunity. So we had a whole day together delivering pies. Everybody loved it.
Julien now has 2 locations, employing almost 70 people. So many admire their company's founder.
It's the best fun.
No, everything I do is very, how would Liz want it done? Liz's perfectionism and attention to detail is really what's brought this company to the magnitude that it is. And if we don't carry that on, then what are we doing?
Liz passed away peacefully, surrounded by family in May. But her legacy lives on through the beloved recipes her family works hard to preserve.
I just hope that she's looking down and whatever that we do, we have her in our hearts and that she's proud.
Oh, this is where you get choked up. No, it's very special. I really miss her. She left a huge legacy with big shoes to fill.
As for the future of Julien, the Smothers continue to welcome customers old and new with open arms.
Come again, sweetie pie. That's my mom.
Coming up next, a North Carolina family is giving candy apples a glow up with their colorful and creative creations.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire.
And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight and expert analysis. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
How do you make apples even sweeter? Well, you dip them in candy, of course. Candy apples have long been associated with boardwalks and state fairs, but there's one entrepreneur in North Carolina who's taking this traditional treat to a whole new level with a colorful twist on the classic coating.
My name is Kim Battle, and this is my husband Travis Battle, and we are the owners of Candy Apples by Kay.
Thank y'all.
I would describe Candy Apples by Kay as the world's first hard candy apple shop. We specialize in the hard candy apple that started out with the traditional carnival treat, and then we've expanded that to different colors, different flavors.
According to most historians, American-style candy apples were invented in New Jersey in the early 1900s. They're known for that signature cinnamon-flavored red shell, until now.
I like the tropical punch.
My favorite flavor is turtle.
I would certainly say that the variety makes them special.
For Kim and Travis, this treat has an especially sweet history.
Candy apples have always been a favorite. My husband used to bring them to me when we were dating. And when I threw his surprise 40th birthday party, I wanted him to have gold candy apples as a favor. We found someone to make them, and then she encouraged me, you know, you can make these yourself. You could do this yourself.
Wanting to enjoy candy apples year-round, Kim began developing unique candy recipes at home. Her kids, her first taste testers.
Eventually, it picked up, and neighbors and friends would say, oh, I would buy some from you if you have some. And I thought, let me start an Instagram page and see how many people are interested in candy apples. At this point, I'm working full-time still as an accountant, and on the weekends I would start doing markets to offer these candy apples.
When Kim got laid off, she saw an opportunity to pursue her dream full-time.
There's never been a storefront that just focused on candy apples, and you love going in a cupcake shop and you're like, ooh, all the flavors and the beauty of having the case displayed of all these treats. And I thought that would be so yum to have the same thing but just in candy apples.
Candy Apples by Kay officially opened in April 2019. A line of eager patrons stretched down the sidewalk on opening day.
Any dream of hers, I'm definitely going to support it. It's going to become my dream as well. So we took off with it.
Today, Kim and her team make over 40 different flavors and rotate their offerings each week. The process starts, of course, with fresh apples that Travis picks up from local farmers markets each weekend.
Those are pretty.
In our opinion, the Granny Smith apple is the best apple to use. That tart, hard, crisp apple is perfect against sweet candy.
The apples are washed thoroughly in vinegar and hot water to remove that waxy coating.
And it creates a smooth surface for the candy to be applied to. In the candy apple world, this is a dirty apple and this is a clean apple.
The apples need to dry for 24 hours or else the candy coating won't stick properly.
And this might just be my opinion, but the more I've dipped, I feel like covering the apple all the way to the stick is ideal for presentation.
Kim's candy starts with a base of sugar, corn syrup, and water heated to 300 degrees. Then flavor extracts are added. She's experimented with dozens over the years, including blue raspberry, sour watermelon, and pina colada. And while we couldn't get her to divulge exactly how she gets those eye-popping colors, Kim did reveal one secret.
Making sure that you're using bright colors and that your candy is not transparent would also be a key to making sure that you have a beautiful apple.
Many apples get a little extra love with candy pieces or nuts. The store now offering a variety of dipped treats, including candied grapes and chocolate-dipped fruit. But the classics are always on standby.
Our family favorites are definitely still the carnival. The turtle, which is caramel, milk chocolate, and pecans, is also a huge favorite. It's one that we can slice and share with everyone.
And they really do mean everyone.
We have 5 kids ranging ages 2 to 22. They all contribute something different even to the family business, and they're very familiar with candy apples. They're so used to seeing them that I think the 5-year-old's first word was apple.
It was apple.
Elena, the couple's oldest, works at the shop. She also handles their social media to help boost business.
This is carrot cake.
I feel it's really brought her out of her shell. I mean, she was an introvert and very quiet, but this has really blossomed her into being a lot more outgoing and engaging in conversation with customers.
The younger kids continue to taste test while Travis pitches in where needed.
He works full-time, but still in the evenings at night, he's washing apples, he's stocking the store, he's getting all our supplies. I think often, like, I don't think I could have done this with anybody else but him.
Kim owing a large part of her success to a generation that came before.
Our moms played a huge role as well. Travis's mom was so precise in developing a process, and a lot of the ways that we dip and a lot of our little tricks and secrets came from her. And then my mom working the store, she was actually washing apples as well.
She's grateful they were able to enjoy her success early on.
Last April, my mother-in-law passed away, and after losing her, that was very traumatic and hurtful for our family. She was the matriarch of the family, and so 2 weeks later, my mom passed, and we weren't expecting that of, either situation. We are definitely keeping them a daily part of our lives, remembering everything that they've taught us and instilled in us, knowing how tickled they were about how far the business had come. I don't think there's a day that goes by that we don't talk about them or think about them. A lot of times when we're doing things, we can kind of feel their peaceful spirit with us and encouraging us and pushing us. And without that, I don't know that we could continue,
And just like their mothers, Kim and Travis are passing down many lessons to their children.
I believe some of the things that the kids have learned by watching Kim run the business is resilience, patience, love and passion. A great job managing both.
Apples are a true American icon. At their core, they're a shining example of innovation and versatility, and their place in U.S. history is one of patriotism and pride. But most of all, they foster a sense of togetherness. New York City is home to so many iconic foods, but when the city that never sleeps wakes up for breakfast, they want a bagel with a cream cheese schmear piled high with lox.
There's no other city that makes a bagel like a New York City bagel.
I have not had good bagels in any other city.
I came out the womb eating bagels.
It's time to head out of Studio 1A and hit the road for a new kind of culinary adventure. Follow me as I taste some of the most iconic foods around the country and meet the families behind them. Together, we're going to learn how a good meal has the power to connect us to our past, our future, and each other. If New York's known for anything, it's its bagels. And we got them all. Everything bagels, rainbow bagels, pumpkin bagels, croissant bagels, and of course you can't have them without a schmear. While the bagel first came from Poland, many food historians say its pairing with salmon and cream cheese originated right here in the Big Apple. In this town, few specialty food shops are as beloved and as historic as Russ and Daughters.
I've been waiting in line probably 15-20 minutes, but it's definitely worth it.
I like the contrast of the flavor. It's like a nice little bagel with salty lox.
Something about the salmon and cream cheese together, I try to make it at home, but it's nothing compared to Russ and Daughters.
They've been serving premium smoked fish to hungry New Yorkers and folks from around the world for over 100 years. Just a few blocks from the store is the Russ and Daughters Cafe.
Hi, Al.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome to Russ and Daughters Cafe.
Nice to see you.
Great to
guys.
have you here.
Thanks for having us. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
Nikki Russ Fetterman and Josh Russ Tupper are the grandchildren of the original Daughters. These cousins are fourth-generation owners, carrying on their family's culinary legacy.
So this is Russ and Daughters. This is our great-grandfather, Joel Russ, who started the business, his wife, Bella, and his 3 daughters. Josh and I have the same grandmother, Anne. She was the youngest of the three.
Was it unusual at that time for you, because you usually would see so-and-so and sons, but to see Russ and daughters?
Very unusual.
But I mean, honestly, if he had had sons, it probably would have been Russ and Sons.
Well, thank goodness he did.
We like to think of him as a feminist, but he was a good businessman.
Joel Russ immigrated from Poland in 1907.
And he started just standing on the streets of the Lower East Side selling schmaltz herring out of a barrel. And a family could feed itself for 2 nights with 1 fish.
In 1914, he opened his first brick and mortar shop, J. Russ National Appetizing. Joel and his wife had 3 daughters, Hattie, Ida, and Ann. When they turned 11, each daughter began working with their dad. What was their relationship like with him? Because he's your dad, but he's also
your boss.
Your boss.
Yeah. And I think he cared more about being the boss and the shopkeeper. He was a new immigrant to this country who was just trying to survive and make a place for his family. And that was his focus. And he saw his children as you know, cheap labor.
The sisters grew up learning all aspects of the business. In 1935, Hattie, Ida, and Ann became Joel's partners. The shop was renamed Russ and Daughters, making it the first in America to bear "and Daughters" in its title. When your great-grandfather decided to start Russ and Daughters, why the Lower East Side?
After Ellis Island, this was the starting off point for the majority of poor Jewish immigrants. This is where they landed and they got their start. And so he was just feeding basic food to other poor immigrants like himself.
At the turn of the century, this neighborhood was one of the most densely populated places on the planet. Many immigrants from all around the world lived in overcrowded tenement buildings, the conditions having a profound impact on their diets.
One of the things about Lower East Side Jewish food is that a lot of food wasn't made at home. When you don't have running water or when you don't have electric or gas stoves, it's really hard to do very much cooking. And so for women who are responsible for feeding their families, they had to get food from push carts, from restaurants, from bakeries.
Joel Russ was one of many vendors catering to this new population. I've always been curious, how did it come about, or from what you've heard, that somebody thought, hey, you know, here's this round bread, we'll put some fish on it, but oh, by the way, before we do, let's put some cream cheese, some dairy on it.
Yeah. First of all, Russ and Daughters is the torchbearer of what's called appetizing. And this is a food tradition born here in New York, and it's the sister food tradition to delicatessen, both of which come up through the Jewish kosher dietary rules. You have to separate fish and dairy from meat. So a delicatessen, strictly speaking, is for meat. The appetizing store is where you go for fish and dairy, things like herring, smoked fish. When we say bagel and lox, most people are, we're referring to a smoked salmon, but the original bagel and lox was not with smoked salmon.
Technically, lox, or belly lox, is salmon cured in salt, which preserves fish without refrigeration. There's no smoking involved, and it's incredibly salty, so it pairs perfectly with tangy cream cheese. But who was the first person to put lox on a bagel?
So no one really knows how bagels, lox, and cream cheese all came together. We know that bagels come from Eastern Europe. We know that lox kind of comes basically from Nova Scotia, kind of. We know that cream cheese is an American food. But what we know is that these things come together as part of a compromise between different generations of American Jews.
Jewish law prohibits cooking with most heat sources on the Sabbath, so the combo of bagels and lox created a filling meal for observant Jews to enjoy on the day of rest.
It's good for a family, but you or your daughter-in-law didn't have to be spending the previous day cooking.
As one of the country's oldest appetizing stores, Russ and Daughters has been serving kosher meals for generations, and the weekends are still their busiest days. I can't think really of anything that's more New York than lox and bagels.
I agree. I think that this is a food that came up through the Eastern European Jewish immigrants to New York. But now it's transformed and just become New York food. It belongs to all New Yorkers.
The general election is right around the corner.
If you have voting questions, we have voting answers.
Head to NBCnews.com/planyourvote.
You'll find voter registration deadlines, early voting dates,
vote by mail information, and so much more. Because some of the rules have changed since 2020.
Now's the time to start planning for your November vote.
What's the state of the United States? That is up to you.
On your mark, get set, plan your vote.
Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold. We have this circle of women that love each other. This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric. Love ya. I love you too.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
In the United States, women own less than 20% of all businesses. At the iconic Russ and Daughters, co-owner Nikki Russ Fetterman is building on the legacy of her grandmother and great aunts.
Growing up, you followed in the footsteps of strong women who may not have chosen this, but took it on and obviously made it really successful. What is it like for you following in those footsteps?
It's a tremendous feeling to be now the great-granddaughter. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a good customer of ours. Her family came from the Lower East Side, and she once said that before she knew the word feminist, when she looked up at the sign, Russ and Daughters, she understood that women could have an impact.
Your family's business, Russ and Daughters, has survived 2 world wars, a depression. You're here in the shadow of the World Trade Center.
Yes.
Why has this place been able to not just survive, but thrive?
I think because in each generation there has been someone who wanted to do this. This is food that people turn to for comfort in hard times. And during the pandemic, we saw that, people were shipping Russ and Daughters all over the country to their loved ones because they couldn't be together. And so sending, bagels and lox and babka, say, I love you, I miss you, here, let me feed you.
Having a schmear over Zoom.
Oh, there was a lot of that.
Okay, so you can get smoked fish pretty much everywhere these days, but not quite like this. The salmon sold at Russ and Daughters is prized for its high fat content, from the milder Gaspé Nova to the smokier Scottish. And this gourmet fish is all sliced by hand.
When you hold it up, it's almost translucent.
That. Yeah, I think we should show you how we get it that thin.
Yeah, me and a sharp utensil, what could possibly go wrong?
It takes up to 6 months of training to master the slicing technique here.
So Al, I hear you have some knife skills.
Well, I've been in a fight or two, but it's probably nothing like yours. So how long have you been slicing salmon?
I've been at the store for 20 years.
Wow.
So I've been slicing for a while.
All right. So I watch people slice, and I'm amazed at how patient, because it seems like that's part of the skill.
The reality is, when you know how to slice, it is one of the most relaxing things you can do.
Very zen.
Very zen.
Ooh.
Meditative, right? The trick is, don't look anywhere on the fish. You have to really feel the fish.
Be the fish.
Be the fish, which is a very difficult concept to train someone.
Understood.
And particularly the first couple slices are. Don't be upset.
Okay.
If they don't look great. The idea is to make a consistently thick slice. You making faces at me, Al?
No, I'm just watching you not watch the fish. All right.
Okay.
Here we go. Be the fish. Not looking.
You should look.
I should
You
look.
got a sharp knife in your hand, Al. And you can see that as you change the angle of the knife, it changes the thickness.
Yeah.
Right?
So now that's
drastically,
a very,
more than you think.
That's more than, oh my gosh, that's a very thick
We call
slice.
those chuletas.
Chuletas?
Yeah. Chops.
Ah.
In Spanish.
I was going to say, that didn't sound
It's
Yiddish.
not
That did
Yiddish.
not sound
Not
Yiddish to
Yiddish.
me.
Yeah.
Does the way you cut it affect the taste of it or the texture of it?
The texture, which affects the experience of the salmon.
It's almost like you're eating the essence of salmon, not salmon.
It's very delicate. It's a very appealing texture and mouthfeel. Yeah, the thinner.
Josh, thanks so much. Nice meeting you.
Such a pleasure to have you.
Smoke them if you got them. Up next, how fresh salmon gets turned into lox.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight and expert analysis. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
You get one beautiful life to live. What are you going to do?
This show is so fun, but having you as a positive force means really the world to me.
Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold, okay?
We have this circle of women that love each other.
I decided I'm going to go with the rhythm of life.
And you love riding the wave.
This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric.
Love ya.
I love you too.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. And let's just get to the point. They have started to vote on the PACT Act. If you're like, Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. So, Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Dan. You are out.
I was trying to do it on the slide.
Live TV, man. It's okay.
I'm here at the Acme Smoked Fish Factory. Now there is something fishy going on in there, and you better believe I'm gonna find out what it is.
The folks at Acme process, smoke, and pack nearly 8 million pounds of fish every year. They sell to eateries all over the country, including Russ and Daughters.
It smells of smoke and it smells of fish.
That's the way it's supposed to be. It
All
smells
right.
like New York City.
Yes.
All right, so as you know, in any food plant, food safety is of paramount importance.
Right.
I see you got your boots on
I
here.
just happen to be wearing these.
Awesome. I'll walk you through the process of how salmon turns into smoked salmon.
Adam Kaslow is the 4th generation owner of Acme Smoked Fish. His great-grandfather, Harry Brownstein, started selling fish after immigrating from Russia to Brooklyn.
Harry started in the smoked fish business in the early 1900s, in 1906 to be exact.
Out of a push cart?
Out of a horse-drawn wagon. Wow. He would go around buying fish from different smokehouses throughout Brooklyn and Queens and had himself the sales route. You know, he worked close to 45 years. I mean, his dream was to open up his own smokehouse, and it took him 45 years to finally achieve that.
Adam now runs a massive smoked fish empire, supplying many of New York City's popular bagel shops, from H&H to Essa Bagel. Acme also selling to national grocers like Trader Joe's.
At the end of the day, it's all about the fish. We bring in fish from all over the world. Smoked salmon is probably the most popular thing that we make, and our salmon come from different places: Norway, Scotland, Chile, and Alaska.
It can take up to 5 days to make smoked salmon. Every order is made to the buyer's tastes, from the type of salmon to the curing method. The first step, cutting a whole fish into fillets.
Whoa! Yeah, so this is a 12-kilo whole salmon that I caught over here in Long Island Sound. No, I'm just kidding. This is an Atlantic salmon. It's farm raised. We use Atlantic salmon because it has the most fat, and fat equals flavor when making smoked salmon.
Right. So what are you cutting out the backbone there?
Yeah, just do the bone.
Carving into a fish this size requires expert hands. After the fish is filleted, it's preserved with salt. The fish is then treated with a wet brine or a dry cure.
Okay, so let's dry cure some salmon.
Good.
First thing, we're gonna get it onto the raft.
Okay.
So, see if you can pick up this salmon, grab it by the tail.
Okay.
Grab with your other hand.
Underneath.
And we're gonna lay it onto the screen.
Okay.
Perfect. Great. Step 2, we're gonna grab a handful of salt.
So it's just a thin layer.
Yep. Right along the top of the dorsal. Like kind of down the center line, I suppose. And we'll give it a nice love tap.
That's it?
That's it. This fish is rather large. So traditionally we would probably wet brine this fish, but for smaller fish, the dry cure lasts about 24 hours.
Okay. That's a huge fish.
Right.
After curing, the fillets are cold smoked for up to 20 hours. This process imparts a subtle, smoky flavor.
Let me show you how the smoker works. So, these are a collection of that wood chip blend that we were talking about earlier.
There are different ways to smoke fish fillets. Hot smoking results in flaky, opaque fillets. Unlike traditional lox, smoked salmon is cold smoked below 85 degrees. This helps the fish retain its silky texture and makes it perfect for slicing.
Ready to help me get this bad boy into the oven?
You bet.
All right. All right.
Hey now.
Let's close her up.
Woo! Shut her down.
After the smoker, the fish is cooled, then packed for shipping.
What would your great-grandfather say if he could see all of it?
I think he'd be amazed of how difficult it was for him to achieve his dream.
Right.
Now his descendants have been able to build upon that dream and build us into one of the preeminent smokers in the U.S.
Up next, a vegan deli taking on tradition with plant-based lox and cashew cream cheese? Oh, you don't want to miss this.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold. We have this circle of women that love each other. This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric. Love ya. Love you too.
Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold. We have this circle of women that love each other. This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric. Love ya. Love you too.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Back on the Lower East Side, two sisters, inspired by their Jewish heritage, are on a mission to make the food they loved growing up in a more sustainable way. Ladies, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Boom,
you.
want to show me around?
Please, come
Please,
on in.
lead away. Erica and Sarah Kabursky are the co-owners of Orchard Grocer, an entirely vegan market inspired by classic delicatessens.
This is our healthy cashew cream cheese.
They want to make the vegan lifestyle easier for all. Right after college, they opened their first business, a shoe store called Moo Shoes.
We opened our vegan shoe store 20 years ago.
How are they? They're comfortable?
About 5 years ago, we decided that we were going to update it by adding our vegan grocer, basically because it seemed like that's what our customers want. After asking us what our shoes were made of, probably where should I go eat was the second most common question. So we decided to create an experience where they could just go eat next door.
Growing up in Queens, the sisters' Jewish culture and food were closely linked. They had 10 Jewish delis in their neighborhood alone.
Probably every Sunday, it's a tradition in our family, dozen bagels at the bagel store. A dozen always meant 15. I don't know why that was, but with the cream cheese and lox, and that was just how we spent our Sundays.
Both sisters became vegan as teenagers, but felt they lost a piece of their roots by giving up certain foods.
I think our parents were supportive of our changes to the vegan lifestyle. We grew up in a very culturally Jewish household, so all of our traditions were just based around food.
Today, a lot of folks are going vegan for a variety of reasons, from reported health benefits to concerns over animal welfare. For the sisters, it's also a matter of global importance.
We're watching climate change happen right now, and I think that's causing a lot of people to think twice about what they're eating and how they are contributing. So it makes sense to us that it is becoming so mainstream.
In 2017, Sarah and Erica saw not just an opportunity to satisfy a growing market, but to pay homage to their Jewish roots.
We wanted to have a good sandwich selection that really epitomizes like New York deli food. So obviously a bagel and lox was going to be there.
Orchard Grocer sells a variety of vegan sandwiches, including Reubens and tuna melts. But the sisters are most passionate about serving up a sense of nostalgia.
People are so worried about giving things up. So I think just creating those alternatives and just something that people are familiar with and gives them that feeling of home.
Yeah, like we haven't had to give up our Sunday tradition of bagels and lox.
To help make their unique deli a reality, the sisters hired vegan chef Nora Vargas. Nora shares a passion for plant-based foods. She also knows how to turn carrots into salty lox.
How did you come up? I mean, you have to think, okay, what can mimic a smoked salmon?
Yeah.
So how did you, was it look like you thought, well, the only orange vegetable out there
Exactly.
other than a sweet potato is carrot.
We know the texture that we need to go for. We know the flavor that we want to go for. So we started with the color and then we just kind of built it from there.
Okay, so let's get started. I'm
Let's do
really
it.
fascinated.
Okay, all right, I'm excited. So we have prepared, what do we have? Maybe 10 pounds of carrots here
Wow.
for you.
These are huge. These would have been huge carrots.
Seriously, yeah, like
Wow.
the size of my forearm.
But you have sliced them very thin on a mandolin?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. All right, so we're all gloved up and we are going to, the next step in this process is to apply our rub
Okay.
to our carrots. So in here we have a mixture of sugar, salt, and the rest I can't tell you about.
Oh, it's a secret kind of thing.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
this would be kind of like the brine that you would use, the dry brine that you would use
Yes.
on fish.
Exactly.
Except
yeah.
it's going on vegetables.
Yeah, we got our inspiration for a lot of different components of this recipe from the way that you would actually prepare fish if we were preparing fish and not carrots.
Right.
Coat everything.
Interesting.
Oh no, don't smell it. Don't figure out the secret just by smelling it. Okay, now.
Because if I figure it out, she's gonna have to kill me.
So I'm just gonna start rubbing, just smushing everything in there. Once we get everything coated, we would let this sit for 3 to 6 hours, probably. Okay, great. So I think we nailed it.
Okay.
In here.
Is another secret ingredient?
Definitely.
Jeez,
yeah, but I can tell
a lot
you.
of secrets here at Orchard.
I'll tell you a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a combination of olive oil and aquafaba.
Aquafaba?
Yeah. Are you familiar with that ingredient?
I don't know.
You know when you're opening up a can of beans
Right.
and you got to drain them?
Yes.
The stuff that you drain out, that's aquafaba.
Aquafaba?
It's bean water.
It's bean juice.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna pour,
Okay.
and then you can kind of do the same process
Okay,
that we
same
did before.
process.
Just squish it all in there, okay? Yeah, perfect. After we had let our carrots sit for 3 to 6 hours, we tossed them in the oven.
So they bake.
We like to call it cold smoking just to sound like classy.
Like the process of making smoked salmon.
Exactly, yeah.
That does look very much like smoked salmon. And what would a bagel and lox be without the cream cheese? This vegan spread is made with raw cashews, salt, some secret spices, and coconut oil, all blended together with soft tofu.
Should we make a bagel?
Sure, let's do it. Chive talking. Cheers. This is a really terrific idea.
Thank you.
Thank you for opening my eyes.
Oh, thank you so much.
I appreciate it. That was fantastic. Okay, a great way to finish things up. I mean, we've seen the history, we've gone to the past, we were in the present, and you have brought us the lox and bagels of the future! A bagel with cream cheese and smoked salmon is a uniquely American combination. Born from Jewish roots, transformed by local ingredients, and carried on by new generations, this breakfast tradition has truly stood the test of time when it comes to food in New York City. When you think Texas, you think beef, brisket, and barbecue. But here in Austin, the state's capital, there's so much more than that. We've got folks and chefs from all around the world who are putting their mark on this city's culinary scene. And in fact, the spices and traditions that pay homage to their families are making Austin a hot food scene.
It's really kind of this melting pot of different people, their culture, and their food.
The creativity and the flavor that they put into the food is really artistry, right?
It's really the diversity of food. Like, you can get some of everything here.
So what keeps Austin weird and tasty? We're about to find out. It's time to head out of Studio 1A and hit the road for a new kind of culinary adventure. Follow me as I taste some of the most iconic foods around the country and meet the families behind them. Together, we're going to learn how a good meal has the power to connect us to our past, our future, and each other. Austin is home to over 1,200 food trucks in food parks just like this one. But we're here for one specific truck. We're here for Tony's Jamaican, serving up fine Caribbean fare to Austin for more than 10 years. Meet food truck owner Tony Scott and his wife Kim. From humble beginnings in Kingston, Jamaica, Tony has made Austin his home since 2003, and he has always had a passion for flavorful food. When did you start cooking? How young were you?
10.
Tony's mother Hyacinth taught her sons how to be self-sufficient, especially in the kitchen. So you learned from Mom early on?
Yes.
What was it about cooking that you liked?
I don't know. I like food at those days.
Those skills learned during childhood would help Tony define his career. For nearly a decade, he worked a small beachside business, serving jerk chicken and drinks to tourists in Jamaica. But after 9/11, tourism to the island stalled. So Tony moved to the U.S. in search of better opportunities eventually landing in Austin. With construction booming in the state capital, Tony quickly found a job as a painter, but it was his homemade lunches that reignited an idea.
You're working, you bring in Jamaican food that you made, and some of your friends taste and say, where'd this come from?
Yes, I cook my own food, and they was like, oh, you should, open a restaurant.
And it's been 10 years.
10 years now.
The 60-year-old chef opened Tony's Jamaican food truck in March of 2012, and his wife Kim has been one of his biggest supporters since the very beginning.
What was the first meal he cooked for you?
Curry chicken and rice, and he invited me over, and once I had it, I didn't want to ask for more. You know how ladies are, we try to eat a little bit, maybe the salad kind of thing, don't want them to know that we that greedy. But it was so good, I asked for seconds.
So when Tony says, I want to do a food truck, your reaction?
I said, a what? I said, a food what? And I knew nothing about food trucks or however, so it was just all his idea. I just followed along. He said he wanted to do something, he had a vision. I said, okay, let's try it.
Despite high praise from friends and family for his grub, Tony's business wasn't exactly booming from the start.
When you first opened up, was it successful right away?
No. I came out here 10 o'clock in the morning and I was all here until 3 o'clock the next morning. I make $37.
Wow.
And, I was still happy when I go home and she was like, how much money you make? And I was like, $37. And she break out laughing. And I was like, don't worry about it. And next day I come and I make $50-something, and the next day I make $80-something, and I say, okay, I'm seeing increase.
Tony taking advantage of the South by Southwest crowds that flocked to Austin in early March. Shortly after the festival, his fledgling business got a big boost with a small write-up.
Kim, what was the game changer? What put this place over the top?
Wow. His presence and his dedication.
Jerk chicken and oxtail.
Now, loyal customers are visiting this hotspot daily, decked out with the colors and vibes of Jamaica. From curried chicken and goat to jerk everything, food fans walk away feeling the island love. In 2018, Tony laid down more permanent roots in Texas.
You opened up a brick and mortar restaurant. Were you nervous about that?
A little bit. It was a lot of...
Let me hear. Kim, were you nervous about that?
Oh, yeah, I'm so glad you asked me that question. Yes, I was. It was something totally different, and from a food truck going into a brick and mortar. I didn't come from the restaurant industry. I came from the finance side. Coming in, I was telling Tony, I said, I got this. I can run this, no problem. But oh, no. I was ringing the red light bell, like, hey, I need some help. It was challenging, but also it was fun.
Kim now helping run the business for both locations.
Family always mean a lot to restaurant. Sometimes she would say, you never know. One day it might be just me and you. You got to show me how to cut this meat.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Hey, podcast fans, ready to unlock our true crime mysteries? Try Dateline Premium on Apple Podcasts. You'll get early access to originals, plus bonus content, and everything is ad-free. So head to Apple Podcasts now to subscribe.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Jerk chicken and oxtail.
Thank you very
Enjoy.
much, sir. Have a great day.
You too. God bless.
Tony Scott dishes out hundreds of plates to hungry customers each day, but he's best known for one Caribbean specialty.
My mother is Jamaican, and in our house, oxtail was king.
Yes.
Oxtail stew, oxtail and dumpling.
Yeah.
Oxtail.
My mom is Southern, and she actually mentioned it to me. I said, oxtail, and she just said it was a beef. So I've never really had it.
And then when you first had it?
It was delicious, and I eat it all the time now. That's the problem.
Isn't it interesting that it was the cheapest cut of meat? Now it's considered a delicacy. You go to all these upscale restaurants, oxtail ravioli, oxtail rice, it's now everybody's into oxtail.
I know. No, I'm scared to go in a restaurant and not oxtail. Because the price is so high.
Bring on the oxtail stew!
Tony frequently sells out of the succulent oxtail, and it was finally time to see and taste why.
Welcome to the truck, Mr. Hahn.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it smells good. Smells like Jamaica.
Oh, hey. This is the oxtail, the famous oxtail that everybody go crazy over. And these are like the Jamaican product seasoning that we use. This have a good flavor to it.
Oh, wow. Tony's oxtails are seasoned with a spice mix that includes garlic powder, dried onion, paprika, black pepper, sugar, salt, and a few chef secrets.
This is my product that I make. It's have like onion, bell pepper, Scotch bonnet pepper. Also have a little bit of garlic in there.
So this is like your own concoction?
Yes. And then this is another Jamaican product they call. You have our Blue Mountain coffee?
Yeah.
They say it's the best coffee in the world. Well, this is the Blue Mountain product of burnt sugar.
Oh, wow.
And this is what we pour on it last. Give it that good color. Then we just mix this up. Make sure you rub it in properly. You want everything to rub into it. Normally, if you take a smell of it, even right now,
oh yeah,
you see, you can smell that flavor in it, and it don't even cook.
It smells good.
Right.
He then lets the oxtails marinate overnight. Then they're added to a pot with water and slow cooked for several hours.
This, what it comes out to be.
Oh, now we're talking.
For you to taste.
So I came to Austin.
The result, truly out of this world.
You see how it fall off the bone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we make sure we cook real tender because dental is very expensive. And you know, you go to some place, you have eaten that meat and you have to be to get it off the bone. You don't do that when you come here.
Good thing Tony feels like talking. I'm too busy eating. And it doesn't stop with the oxtails.
How is it, Mr. Hall?
That's fantastic.
This is curry goat right here. Taste that. This is the jerk pork.
Oh, jerk? I've never had jerk pork before.
Oh. And that's also my homemade jerk sauce that I make.
Whoa.
Okay, this is the famous curry chicken. And this is the carrot.
Oh, so at least I can say I have my vegetables today.
Yes.
Look at how tender that chicken is.
Tony also serves traditional peas and rice, which brought on a wave of nostalgia.
This is black bean.
When you open that pot, I thought, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is my mother's peas and rice. This is great.
And just when I thought I'd had enough...
Wait a minute, I notice...
These are beef patty.
I gotta try that. Oh, that's a great crust.
As a reminder of how far Tony's love for cooking has taken him.
If you look up here, you'll see these little pots. This pot right here is when I just started out. This is what I usually cook rice into.
Wow.
The reason why I keep this pot to show people is where Tony's Jamaican food is coming from.
So what would you tell people who are thinking they've got a dream, they want to start something like you did? What would you tell them?
First, you have to motivate yourself to do it. And never give up on your dream. My mama always tell me, don't make nobody tell you you can do nothing.
Tony, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, Harley. It is nice meeting you.
It feels like I'm back in Jamaica.
I'm glad you have that feeling.
Everything going to be all right.
The general election is right around the corner.
If you have voting questions, we have voting answers.
Head to NBCnews.com/planyourvote.
You'll find voter registration deadlines, early voting dates,
Vote by mail information, and so much more. Because some of the rules have changed since 2020.
Now's the time to start planning for your November vote.
What's the state of the United States?
That is up to you.
On your mark, get set, plan your vote.
Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire.
And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. I appreciate
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold. We have this circle of women that love each other. This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric. Love ya. I love you too.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Just a few miles from the hustle and bustle of downtown Austin is Mekon Bistro. It is a spot that's loved by locals and tourists alike for its Vietnamese comfort food.
Who's the better cook in the family? I'm not going to even bother asking my mom about that because my mom is hands down the best cook.
Coi như là con tôi nó thằng này nấu ngon nhất.
Chef Will Hyun and his siblings opened Mekon Bistro to honor their mother, Anh Hang. A refugee who fled Vietnam after the fall of Saigon and working tirelessly to provide for her family in the United States.
She took a chance to travel across the ocean with nothing in hand. Working ever since she's been over here, working from morning to night and still provide us with a hot meal every day.
When Mekon first opened, Will hoped that his mom would finally stop working, but Anne had other plans.
Technically, she's retired, but like I said, she would not stay home.
Anne's passion for food starting in her home country.
Mẹ chỉ hồi khoảng 17-18 tuổi đó là đi theo mấy người ở dưới quê mình ta đi nấu đám cưới này kia nọ. Rồi thì thích nấu vậy thôi.
In 1972, Anne married Kia Huynh. They had 4 children in Vietnam. Anne turning to cooking to help support the family.
Nấu ngoài chợ bán thì chỉ có khoảng 2 tháng cỡ đó. Thì cô bán nấu hủ tiếu nấu đồ Việt Nam thôi.
This is my dad and my mom right before the fall of Saigon.
When the Vietnam War ended, the family was looking toward a better future in their homeland. But in 1975, the Viet Cong began to invade Saigon.
Giải phóng vô thì mẹ muốn tự do, không có muốn ở bên Việt Nam nữa, muốn đi tìm tự do.
Anne's husband fled the city first, Will leaving when he was just 7 years old.
It was scary. We left separately, me with my uncle and my mom with my 3 sisters that came a year later because if you get caught, you were thrown in jail. Luckily, we made it out. We were rescued by cargo boats, but they rescued us. They took us to the Malaysian refugee camp.
Will and his uncle secured refugee status, eventually reuniting with Will's dad in the U.S. In the years spent apart from his mother, Will began experimenting in the kitchen. with a little nudge from his uncle.
He told me that, there's only two of us. You're gonna have to do your share, so learn to cook something.
In 1983, Anne made the journey to the U.S. with her daughters.
Đi vượt biên á, thì nó đi tàu nhỏ thì nó cũng hơi khó khăn, nhưng mà qua được tới ấy rồi đoàn tụ gia đình đó thì rất mừng. Tại vì chồng con gặp lại mặt chồng con hết, thành ra rất là sung sướng.
But adjusting to a new country as refugees was a struggle.
When we came over, nothing in our pockets. We relied on government assistance a little bit. Luckily, she's a great cook. So it wasn't bad for us at all. Growing up, that's how she shows us that she loved us by putting all that love into the food.
The family moving from Houston to Louisiana, finding work in the seafood industry. But Will wasn't so happy living in a small town. When his uncle invited him to attend high school in Austin, Will said yes right away.
I fell in love with Austin. The beautiful lakes, the miles of trails, the music scene. What's there not to love?
Austin's vibrant culinary scene struck a chord. After high school, Will found work in several restaurants, dreaming of being able to showcase his mom's cooking. In 2015, the entire family moving to Austin. But Anne still wasn't sure about opening a restaurant.
Asked her many, many times in the past to do something like that. She's dead set against it. She said it's just way too much work.
Eventually, Anne agreed to share her recipes for just one reason, her family.
Thích làm với con cái mới lên hát với cho con. Chứ giờ lớn tuổi rồi thì cũng còn sống được bao lâu nữa. Thì là giờ cho con được là ngày nào thì hay ngày nấy, thì hát cho con mình ngày nào thì hay ngày nấy thôi.
She's emotional because she basically she's doing everything for her kids.
The first dish Will added to the menu, his mom's pho.
So pho, at a restaurant is basically how we do pho at home. When we cook pho at home, it's a big pot that's gonna feed us for at least 3 days. We have pho for breakfast, we have pho for lunch, we have pho for midtime snack, we have pho for dinner, and pho at night for snack at night until the pot's gone.
With the help of his family, Will created several new dishes.
Our menu does incorporate a lot of fusion Asian dishes, and that is because of the family business. My mom's a cook, I cook, my sister cooks, my brother cooks. Second beef dish was something that I've tried out. I consider myself a Texan. We love beef. It's a dish that my mom and I collaborated together to put out. Basically, just cubes of real nice tender beef that's been flashed in a wok.
It's been 6 years since Macon Bistro opened, and Will and his mom still love working together.
Làm ăn gia đình thì cái này cũng như giúp cho con thôi. Thì thấy nó tự xúc động rồi mình ấy vậy thôi, chứ mẹ đâu có biết làm sao giờ. Mình thấy hy sinh cho con mình được thì ngày nào thì hay ngày đấy vậy thôi. Mình thấy nó xúc động vậy thôi.
I admire her greatly. The courage it takes just to make that journey and to just stick with us no matter thick and thin. She's my hero. She really is my hero.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold. We have this circle of women that love each other. This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric. Love ya. I love you too.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCNews.com/planyourvote today.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. And let's just get to the point. They have started to vote on the PACT Act. If you're like, Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. So, Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Dan. You are
I was trying to do it on the slide.
Live TV, man, it's okay.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Using food to bring younger generations closer to their heritage happens in families all across America. And it's happening here at Habesha with a husband and wife team who's using their restaurant to bring their daughters closer to their Ethiopian roots.
We want, more than anything else, people to be familiar with not just Ethiopian food, but Ethiopian culture. My name is Yidne Pantu. This is my wife, Salama Bebe.
We ran an Ethiopian restaurant called Habesha in Austin.
When it opened in 2013, Habesha was the second Ethiopian restaurant in Austin.
People, they come in here, we give them the food, they said, "Where's the fork? Your hands."
Ethiopian food is eaten with injera, a fermented flatbread made with teff, a gluten-free grain.
You'll see a family dining, and everyone is on their phone eating and really not enjoying the event.
Not
you
in
cannot
here.
do that in Ethiopian restaurants. You have to use your hands. You can't.
Both of them.
That emphasis on family is everywhere at Habesha, from the Ethiopian art and decor to Yidne and Salam's daughters, who can often be found studying at the restaurant.
I think I was like around 4 years old when we opened, so like this is like my second home.
Salam and Yidne were born and raised in different parts of Ethiopia. In the 90s, they left Africa to attend college here in the United States. Yidne immigrating to Texas, Salam to Maryland, where her family owned an Ethiopian restaurant. A chance meeting bringing them together.
My dad was visiting a friend dining at her family restaurant, and she happened to be the waitress. And he overheard a music playing and asked her, "Hey, where could I get this CD?" And she was nice enough to grab the CD and hand it to him.
But Yidne's dad was thinking about more than music. When he got home, he immediately gave his son a call.
And he said, "Hey, just call her and thank her for me."
When he called me, I was like, "I give it to your dad, not for you." And then he kept calling me. I was like, okay, I think he's not gonna give up.
My dad was one who hooked me up to it.
They dated long distance before Salam moved to Texas, the couple marrying in 2003. Their daughters, Edel and Azel, are now teenagers.
I think we've always been around food. My mom's always cooking. For me, I love her pancakes. She makes the best pancakes.
Salam left the restaurant industry to focus on parenting, but Yidne knew his wife's heart was in cooking professionally.
What I saw in her was the passion to own her own business.
I really want to open restaurant, and I love the customer service and cooking.
In 2012, Yidne and Salam finding the perfect location for their restaurant.
Austin is a very unique town in that there is people from all walks of life. And I think part of the reason that we are successful is because of that diversity.
Habesha's menu honors their Ethiopian heritage with many vegetarian dishes, from stewed yellow split peas to braised collard greens. They also serve more than a dozen dishes with beef.
Texas has a lot of people that loves meat, so we have a bigger selection of meat as well. And I think my favorite dish in that is the kitfo, or the steak tartare. When it's done right, that's probably the best dish in the world.
There's a ground beef and mixed with butter and spices.
When the pandemic hit, Habesha's popularity helped save them from closure.
And I said, okay, this is it. I think we're gonna fall down now. And then people, they support us. They love to be here. They send us check. They send us cards. We have a good community.
The donations from fans kept them afloat until they figured out a to-go plan.
Before COVID, takeout business was only 3 or 4% of our business. And overnight, we had to do 100% of our business. And by nature, Ethiopian food is not takeout, so we had to figure out a way to package the food, to market the food.
After laying off most employees, the couple had to work nonstop. As the to-go business began ramping up, Edel and Azel pitched in to support their parents and save their beloved second home.
I would write down like the orders, like the online orders, and I would like put them in the kitchen and cleaning, washing the dishes, cutting the injera, like folding it, boxing up to-go orders.
They did a lot, and they're part of the reason why we're still around. So I'm sorry I get a little emotional when I talk about them, but yeah, they're incredible. They're just a love of my life. One of the things that we instill in them is knowing who they are, where their parents came from, and learning the culture, learning the food.
Salam is looking forward to a busier future at her dream restaurant.
I want to grow this business, and a lot of people, they never had Ethiopian food. They had Chinese food, Italian food, or Indian food, so they don't know about Ethiopian food.
I'm really proud of her because like she gets frustrated at times, but she doesn't let that like stop her. A really big inspiration to me. Whenever things get hard, you just keep going.
Best part working with your partner is the fact that you're there for each other, to comfort each other when it's down, and to be there when your partner needs you.
The best part of it, he knows what I can't do, he covered. The same thing, he cannot cook. So, okay, she can handle it.
With Austin's welcoming atmosphere, it's no surprise that more chefs are putting down roots in this fast-growing city.
It's everything from James Beard award-winning chefs and taqueros and even home cooks.
The thing that makes a food scene good is different cultures meeting each other and being able to influence each other.
The fact that anything is possible is what makes Austin such a cool place.
One thing that rings true here in Austin, no matter your background or culture, there's room for everyone at the table. I love the city of Baltimore. I've been coming here for years, and if there's one thing I know, the city of Baltimore is serious about his crab.
I love Baltimore crabs.
This is the stomping ground of crabs.
And I've been eating crab since the time I could sit up at a table.
It's a little spicy, salty, and savory all in one.
If I could describe the taste, you can't. You just have to try it. You just have to try it.
It's time to head out of Studio 1A and hit the road for a new kind of culinary adventure. Follow me as I taste some of the most iconic foods around the country and meet the families behind them. Together, we're going to learn how a good meal has the power to connect us to our past, our future, and each other. When you think Maryland, you got to think blue crab, an essential part of the state's culture and cuisine. And no place knows how to cook it up quite like Baltimore. I mean, just as many ways as you can count, you can find ways to eat crab. Of course, there's your basic, your steamed crab with the beautiful spices, and you just start whacking that bad boy. You can get all that beautiful meat out. You can get canned crab if you'd like. Of course, there's also the fabulous crab mac and cheese with a hot dog. There's the crab dip, there's your crab soup, and of course, the king of crab, the crab cake. Yes, but this is a cake that needs no icing. crab cakes have been enjoyed by many for centuries throughout the Chesapeake region. But here in Baltimore, they're a way of life. And one of the city's most popular go-tos is tucked away just inside the world-famous Lexington Market.
We're headed back to Houston today, and we wanted to have the best crab cake in town.
We're from Orlando, glad to be here.
People been coming to Faidley's for years.
Yes.
Ever since I was little, and I'm 25.
People from all around the world come here to Baltimore just to grab a bite of the famous Faidley's crab cake. It's made with fresh Maryland crab and family love. Everybody looks the same. How are you, my dear?
Hello.
Hello, hello.
So good to see you.
How are you, sir? You looking good?
You're looking great. Got something for you.
All right. There you go.
There you go. You need one of those.
Oh, yeah.
There you are.
Now I'm feeling really crabby. Pardon me, I've got to get a lawyer because there's a clause I have to have checked. I've known the folks at Faidley's Seafood for years, but they've been serving up fresh crab cakes even longer.
Hi, I'm Nancy Faidley Devine. I own Faidley's Seafood. It's been in my family now for, 4 generations, and the 5th is coming up, so we've been around a long time.
I think people are astonished to see my parents at 84 and 89 still working. You can get another 5 cans and do a second batch if you need to with them. People ask her for her autograph, they ask her for a picture, they ask her to hold their babies. You know, it's really fun.
I mean, here's this company that's been part of Baltimore for over 130 years.
Right.
What is it about your place that has people coming back?
Right. I think it's that people come in here and go right away. There's a warmth.
Uh-huh.
It's like walking to somebody's home. They're happy to have you.
Uh-huh.
You know, come and you feel, oh my gosh, I feel at home. And I get people, we were here 20 years. It's exactly the same.
In fact, Faidley still stands in its original location, founded here by John W. Faidley Sr. in 1886. Started off as a seafood stall, but over the generations grew into a Baltimore tradition, led by Bill and Nancy Devine, along with their daughter.
Damie Hahn, and I am the 4th generation of Faidley's, so I do everything. Give them a little bit of a smorgasbord of everything. Going over here to fillet a fish, over here to shuck an oyster, over there to steam a crab, back here to fry, up here to make a crab cake, back down on the phone, running in the shipping department. A tray like that is about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bushels of crabs in order to get that tray. That's a lot of picking, and I don't think people realize how much work goes into getting an all jumbo lump.
Growing up, did you think you were going to end up here? You were going to be doing this?
No, but it was hard to get away from, and I couldn't see it going away. I couldn't see it ending with my parents. So
the pandemic hit.
Yes.
You really had to step up.
My father called me and I said, Dad, you guys cannot come in here. You know, we don't know anything about this virus and the effects, especially on the elderly. And I know you want to be here, but you can't. And he said, Damie, do whatever you do, whatever you can to make payroll. It just makes me cry when I think about it. He said, just make sure that we don't have to lay anybody off. I don't want to lay anybody off. I don't want anybody to lose their job. And we did it.
And I saw it back when I came here in the 90s, and I still see it today. This truly is a family.
Oh, it is a family. And it's funny because I often tell people, Mom and Dad don't treat the employees any differently than they treat me. And that's the God's honest truth.
Which could be a good or a bad.
That's the God's honest truth. And that's why you end up having so many multi-generation families staying here.
That's right. Faidley's isn't just a family-owned business. It's run by family as well. Multiple generations of employees, father and daughter, father and son, mom and daughter, all building a home here.
I've been here since a junior in high school, so I've been doing the thing for a while. I'm gonna say it's been around
34 years.
And I started at the end of '79, a week before my son was born.
I started at 14 years old, and I'll be 42 years old in December.
It's always a challenge working with family. A lot of personalities, but you love each other, and it always works. You know, it always works well.
What's really bad is when your kids are grandmothers.
Well, we were in the middle of an interview. Oh, you just broke in.
You have to start over?
Yes.
You were saying about the challenges of working with family?
It's just a few of them, you know? Just a few.
While the family spirit makes customers feel at home, it's Faidley's crab cakes that keep them coming back.
What kind of oil do you cook your crab cakes in?
Soybean.
Soybean, thank you.
So excited to have this crab.
And I watch people for the first time put it in their mouth and they go, oh my God. And they're standing at a table in a market.
Yeah.
They're not sitting down to a white tablecloth and having somebody serve it on a silver platter. It's on a paper plate, but it belongs on a silver platter.
Nancy created her recipe in 1987, saying she's never changed it. So, besides yourself, how many other people know the Faidley's crab cake recipe?
Sleep with her, she won't tell me.
He doesn't even know how to make a cup of coffee. Why would I tell him?
So some people use breadcrumbs, you use crushed up saltines.
Broken saltines, yes. And not fine, because you have to use more. Now, and then this is the magic sauce.
Is this the secret sauce?
Yes.
So it's just enough to mix the ingredients together,
Right.
nothing more.
That's right.
And the
Fine.
big ball of crab right there.
That's it.
Boom. Oh, look at this. Oh, boy. Oh. It's just like I remember eating it 26 years ago.
You know what? I'm told that all the time when people come in here. The best part about this is you haven't changed a thing.
Now this is a legacy. Well, we know how the crabs end up, but how do they get them? Let's go find out. Coming up, the generations of black watermen who've made a living pulling in Maryland's most famous catch.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. And let's just get to the point. They have started a vote on the PACT Act. If you're like, Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. So, Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Danny. You are.
I was trying to do it on the slide.
Live TV, man. It's okay.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Chesapeake Bay men and women who work these waters are probably just as famous as the legendary catch that they pull out. And in fact, it's backbreaking work that is passed on from generation to generation, including blackjacks. Those were the black watermen who worked these waters all the way back into the 1800s and are a vital part of this community. The Chesapeake Bay is home to a vast variety of seafood, but none as valuable or as well known as the blue crab. The catch here makes up over 1/3 of the nation's supply, and on average, more than 50 million pounds of blue crabs are harvested from the bay.
I'm Captain Tyrone Meredith, charter boat captain, owner, operator of the Island Queen II.
Captain Meredith knows these waters well. He grew up on them.
I'm the 4th generation waterman, and my great-grandfather, he worked on the water, my grandfather, and my father. We've been here ever since the 1860s, making a living, working on the Chesapeake Bay.
This has been the way of life for generations of watermen here in Kent Narrows, a town just 50 miles south of Baltimore. For hundreds of years, they've caught, processed, and sold blue crabs to markets up and down the eastern shore. By the mid to late 1800s, Kent Narrows had also become one of many unlikely havens on the bay for free and enslaved African Americans.
There was more black watermen anywhere on the whole East Coast, probably in the United States.
Those watermen, also known as blackjacks, forged their path to liberation on the water. Their expertise essential to the booming seafood industry. So much so, the government granted some black watermen Seamen's Protection Certificates, providing sailors with American citizenship and a path to economic freedom.
Hey, Lois, I'm coming up on you now. Okay, I got you. Yeah? How'd it biting today?
This morning it's been pretty good. Well, being out here is your own boss. You do what you want to do and have nobody tell you, go get me this or go get me that.
75-year-old Lewis Carter still finds that same sense of freedom on the water today. He's also one of the last generations of black watermen alive. Every morning, before the sun rises, he sets out to catch crabs in the bay.
I started in 1961, I was about 15, and I've been at it ever since. Right now, I'm going down the line, and when I get to the other end, I'll throw it off. Crabs will come up on that bait. The pressure from the water pushes them back in this dipper. Okay, these are the big, large males. You put them in one basket. That's a female with red claws. Put them in one basket.
He's one of the last Mohegans left. There's not too many people that still make a living from the water. Most of them moved away, got other jobs, and it's changing because it's harder to make a living from the bay.
Crabbing season runs from spring into late fall, but changes in climate, cost, and labor have made each successive year more challenging. As younger generations take up new trades, there are less people working the waters and ultimately fewer black watermen.
Back when I started, it was a plenty black watermen, but they died out and the younger ones never taken their place. In one way, it makes me feel bad, you know, and I don't think it'll be no chance of more black watermen. I really do believe that.
Captain Meredith estimates there are fewer than a dozen black watermen on the bay. Like many of his peers, he's had to turn to other work.
Back when I was crabbing teenager, I caught high as 50 bushel a day. Right now, crab is catching 2 or 3 bushel a day. Now I started running charters, fishing charters, because crabbing started declining and the fishing was more lucrative money-wise.
And educational. His charters are an opportunity to keep stories of the Blackjacks alive for generations ahead. Although tradition on these waters is changing, one thing remains the same.
Nothing tastes like the Chesapeake Bay Maryland crab. It's got that certain taste to them, and it's the only place like that in the world is the Chesapeake Bay blue crab.
Next, an up-and-coming Baltimore chef inspired by his family's love of cooking.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. And let's just get to the point. They have started to vote on the PACT Act. If you're like, Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. So, Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Dan. You are.
I was trying to do it on the slide.
Live TV, man. It's okay.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The general election is right around the corner.
If you have voting questions, we have voting answers.
Head to NBCnews.com/planyourvote.
You'll find voter registration deadlines, early voting dates,
Vote by mail information, and so much more. Because some of the rules have changed since 2020.
Now's the time to start planning for your November vote.
What's the state of the United States?
That is up to you.
On your mark, get set, plan your vote.
Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves.
You can actually see they're pushing the gates open.
Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
Mel, do you remember any tornado as bad as this one?
You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months.
Exactly.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
The general election is right around the corner. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about, and you'll instantly get voting rules. See the next big deadline, learn how to take action for your plan, and even help others make their plans. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for November. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Back in Baltimore, a new generation is putting a spin on the crab cake.
So I'm Alex Perez. I'm the owner of Poppy Cuisine. I'm an artist at heart, so cooking, the arts of culinary, that's something that I'm very passionate about. Not necessarily having a recipe to go off of, and just getting in the kitchen, freestyling, and coming up with a masterpiece.
It's that freestyling approach that brings people through these doors, clamoring for a taste.
Jumbo, crab, lobster. Crab is king in Baltimore, so you're gonna see crab cakes, crab cake fries, crab cake egg rolls. Everyone's been going crazy over it as well.
This is the bomb.
So I just come back for that, and I enjoy it every time I come here.
We actually live in DC, so we rode all the way up here an hour just to come here.
Right now I'm drizzling our warhead and our aioli sauces on it. I have a family from the Dominican Republic. I'm Afro-Latino. I'm black on my mother's side. And pretty much I just always had a love for food and cooking food, eating food. So learning how to cook from my dad. So my dad taught me how to cook at the age of 10. I grew up, watching my grandmother cook a lot as well. So I started pretty much combining the foods that I learned to cook from my grandmother with the foods I learned how to cook from my father. And that's kind of like how the whole Poppy Cuisine, was born in her kitchen, essentially.
That was 8 years ago. While working a full-time job, Alex began building a new business on the side, catering food out of his grandma's kitchen. In February 2020, he was finally able to open a restaurant. Then, the pandemic hit.
Of course, a month later, we get the news that we have to shut down and only do takeout. So that just opened up the floodgates, essentially. And you had people standing in line hundreds of people on the block in that mass. You know, cars double parked up and down the streets, and it was mayhem.
During a global crisis, the city Alex was born and raised in rallied around him. Now, Papi Cuisine is packed with locals and tourists alike. But the chef stays true to his roots, running it with close family and friends.
My little sister, Natasha.
Hi.
How's it going?
Natasha, my big bro, Alex.
I can employ family members, friends, and so forth, you know, that are people who I grew up with, people that I'm close to, and it's very rewarding, you know.
Coming up, I'm going to grab my apron and join Alex and Grandma Gloria for a lesson in cooking crab.
Hey, I'm Hallie. It's good to be with you tonight. There's another legal filing today, and I want to cut through some of the weedsy stuff. But let's just get to the point. They have started to vote on the PACT Act. If you're like, Hallie, stop speaking Washingtonese. This bill would basically give health care to veterans who have exposed to these toxic chemicals. So, Scott, I'm trying to make this as not DC as possible. The increased sort of anger that we've seen now in politics. I saw you searching for, I think, your microphone, Danny. You were
I was trying to do it on the slide.
Live TV, man. It's okay.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months.
Exactly.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
You get one beautiful life to live. Jenna doesn't stop till it's sold. We have this circle of women that love each other. This is a moment we're in right now. This is really electric. Love ya. Love you too.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you.
I wanted to meet Alex and his grandma Gloria, the inspiration behind his cooking. So I dropped by their kitchen to say hello.
Well, I know I picked up from my grandmother, my mother-in-law, and just put my own spin on certain dishes. I didn't follow it to the recipe to the letter.
So you're able to ad-lib a little bit.
Yeah, but he's always asked me when I fix a dish, well, what did you put in this? How did you do this? And I would tell him, I said, you don't have to follow to the letter, put your own spin.
And Alex has done just that, turning the classic crab cake into an egg roll. Genius! The ingredients, simple. A pound of jumbo lump crab, panko breadcrumbs, aged cheddar cheese, egg roll wrappers, and a couple of sauces and microgreens to top it off. There's the star of the show, the crab meat. Put on an apron, I've got rubber gloves on. All right. Patient's ready. So how do we get started, Alex?
Yeah, so first what you want to do is say we have some Maryland jumbo lump crab here. So for the most part, it shouldn't have much shells in, but typically I like to sift through it. Just gotta see if there's any shells, and if so, you can put the shells right back in this container.
There you go. So Gloria, did you know you were helping raise a culinary genius?
Well, no, but I know he liked to eat.
This sauce in particular is our crab sauce mix. So we're going to drizzle a little bit at a time, because I don't want to put too much, just enough to bind.
You got enough for Al?
Yep, I think I'll have enough.
She's stayed by me. I like this. I like this lady.
This is why I'm so particular about, when I'm doing things in the kitchen. Gonna start actually rolling these things up. Yes.
Why do you think this recipe is so popular at the restaurant, the most popular?
Well, I think because it pretty much gives you the ability to take a Baltimore favorite and make it handheld and on the go. Throw in your hand.
Kind of a street food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons it's very popular. Other than the taste as well.
Right. Well, exactly.
Yeah, because that's
you can take it with you, but if it doesn't taste good,
exactly.
Come back for it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to take like a pinch of crab. It's around like a quarter cup or so. They're gonna sit in the middle.
That too much?
Yeah, we want to take a little bit out, a little pinch out. Actually, we want to put a little bit more in. Yeah.
Which is it?
All right, so that's perfect right there. That's perfect, perfect. And we're gonna literally fold them up envelope style.
What is it about cooking and family that is so important?
Yeah, I think for me, living a busy life as a business owner and a dad, a husband, and things like that, I feel like food is an opportunity for family to come together, talk about things, especially if you haven't seen each other in a long time. And it's, it's a way for us to connect, so. Here you go.
Is it true you've never done this before?
No, I haven't. It's true.
Oh. Could have fooled me that you never did this before. Look at that. Bam! Done!
Faster than I did.
Wow! Wow! It's a natural grandma thing. Love it. So now we're going to get the deep fryer up here and fry these bad boys up.
Oh, absolutely.
Woo! If you had to describe the heart of your cuisine, what is it, and how does Baltimore kind of is part of that?
Pretty much my story, and I think that connects very well to our Baltimore, because, I grew up here, all my life, and I think everything that I faced during the time that, I started this company up until now, I've been transparent about, and it resonated very well with the people in Baltimore, and they watched my journey through the years, and I feel like that's really the heart of what I do.
Make sure
and crisp around the edges and then things like that. So that's why I keep turning them, so it doesn't fry on one particular side too much, and just want to even fry.
Ooh.
Nice and golden.
So we want to cut these diagonally. So I'm going to drizzle. This is our aioli sauce, house made, and this is our warhead sauce right here. So the sauce is kind of sweet, has a tangy bite to it.
Kind of like Gloria.
Yep, that's right.
Well, I guess there's only one thing left to do.
Yeah, and that's the piece.
Yeah, yeah. Crab cake egg roll.
Yeah. Here we go.
Wow. Chef Alf, you have done Baltimore proud.
Thank you.
Our time here in Baltimore is coming to an end. We tried the traditional crab cake, tasted a modern spin with crab cake egg rolls, and even went straight to the source on the Chesapeake Bay. At the center of it all, one thing still ringing true: food tastes better when you eat